She proper. It's some Lone Ranger. What I'm charging?
He's back.
Come
on, mate. Big hug to start. What are you talking about?
Fam, how are you, bro?
Oh, yeah.
It's blessings, fam. Do you know what? I all stole this from the youth, so that's how I know. Fruit shoot. Come on.
Might as well go straight in.
Yeah, what is?
Firstly, honourable shout out to the youths then.
Oh, you are swagging today.
It's their birthday.
Stop do swagging casually as well.
Serious on a quick light one and that.
It's cold, man. You coming with a light swag like.
It's a little light one, boy.
Is that what was laying around in the yard?
Well, you know what I'm saying. Quick Philly, you know my thing.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Firstly, honourable shout out to the youths them. Birthday and that. Actually, first, bro, I'm so like I appreciate you coming out of the house today, even because this conversation, you were the only person I wanted to sit and have this conversation with, the only person in it. And like when you told me it was a youth's birthday, I'm like, nah, bro, we didn't. Like, you're like, nah. Well, don't worry, we'll talk, and then I'll go back to it and do that. You know what I mean? So, bro, I love you for that, bro. Serious.
Thank you, bro.
But yeah, honourable. How old are they now?
What they're for?
Fucking. Do you remember the episode when Poet came and they'd just been born? Remember that? Do you remember that? I do.
Well, I started coming to Halfcast around the time
that
just after they were born. You went out to LA. That's when I came and he wasn't here. Okay. So my first episode with Poet was when he came back.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
So you only know.
I only know Father Poe.
Father Poe, yeah.
You see Poe before Father Poe's lit, but you see Poe before responsibility.
I can only imagine.
He was a madman.
Do you know what? Let me tell you this as well, yeah. That we was in the other studio, I think, yeah. Turned up to the studio, whatever. Poet didn't come. I'm like, yo, Poe, like, what's going on? Then you hit me at the last minute. You're like, you know what? I don't even think I could come. My girl's pregnant with twins. I said what? Only Poet can hit me with news like that. I was so bamboozled, bro. Like, what? Nah. And it actually happened.
It was mental.
It actually happened.
But we're there now.
Yeah, we're here,
Them
man.
4, they got big mouth and thing.
Yeah, we'll get into some of that in a bit. But yeah, do you know what? Today, I wanted to kind of be open about some stuff. And I think obviously I've alluded to some of it before. I wasn't in the space to discuss it. Like once it all happened, I just wasn't there. But I am now. And sometimes we sit down, like you say to me, oh, Chucks, like, how are you? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm alright, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay. And I was, you know what I mean? I'm open in like sometimes how I'm feeling and stuff like that. But the last 12 months and longer than that have been like the most of the testing time of my whole life, bro. Like honestly, my whole life. What was going on privately it's so like, I think even at times I was finding it difficult to, I was having conversations with my brethren. I had a long conversation with you when I was driving to Liverpool. We had a wicked and those type of conversations that I have with you, have with Ben, some of my other friends and that are big helps, because the good thing about these friendships is that like I'm not coming to you for answers. I'm just coming because I just want to just get it off, because it's a lot. Do you know what I mean? And so with that being said, like I have like said a lot of the time, I've talked about my stepdad or whatever. I even with Steve-O sort of went into the fact that like, there was a couple of things that were going on with my stepdad and he wasn't too well and whatnot. But he took his last breaths a couple of weeks ago, and like in our arms, bro. Yeah. And I'm gonna get into like all of that in a bit, but like before he died and before he was even ill, this guy was so certified that any opportunity that I would be out loud here on my content or whatever it may be, and I would talk about him, or I'd mention something about him, because I think the older that I got, the more I started to realize how significant he was in my life, but also the dynamic that I had being rare. So what I mean by that is that, like, for me now, I realize that one of my biggest flexes is that I realized, like, oh, right, like, I got a great relationship with my dad, my biological dad. I got an amazing relationship with my mum, and I got a great relationship with my mum's husband, my stepdad. And on top of that, they all have a good relationship amongst each other. Yeah. And at first, like, you know, growing up and whatever in that dynamic, you don't really see, you may not necessarily see or feel the importance of it until reflection, until, you know, you start having conversations with some of your friends or whoever it may be, and you start thinking, right, shit, like, my dynamic is rare. But you know what? Like, this man came into my life here when I was like 9 years old, around that time. And Poet, when I tell you, bro, this human being, honestly, bro, from the bottom of my heart, bro, he smashed it to bits. Like, he smashed it, bro. He never came into my life on the thing of, oh, I'm going to be your dad and I'm going to be this and I'm the man of the house and all of these type of things. It was like such a smooth, I mean, obviously my mum would have her perspective of like how she integrated him into my life, because it wasn't a thing of she's met him and I've met him straight away. You're a parent, and I know that for some parents and stuff like that, it's like, it's a tough decision to make, right? When you've got a child and you've met someone and you know, you understand what I'm saying?
It's all mental.
But you know, like, he came in and absolutely smashed it. And like, I remember saying for quite a long time, rah, like, when I deep it, my mum's like the happiest person I know. She's like the happiest woman I know. Like, I used to always joke around with them and say like, rah, you two always find yourself in like these places where you're like the only black people in the village. Like, where are you? Like, where are you going? We're going for walks. Like, they made proper use of this country, and like, they'd go on holidays, but they would always go to different places within this country and just go for walks and whatnot. And like, I can't speak for everyone when I say this, but I know that there can become a time when you're in a relationship for a long period of time, or you're married or whatnot, and you find yourself just existing together. Like, you're just existing. You have a family. This is just kind of what you know, or whatever it is. Yeah, their thing was not like that. They didn't exist together. They actually was really just doing things. Like, they were always just doing things. They were always trying to, make time together to do X, Y, and Z. But I think it was very important for both of them to have their own lives too. Peter had his lives with his friends. You know what I mean? He'd go out. Peter's my mum's husband, my stepdad. He would go out like with his brethren on a Friday or Saturday or whatever. He's a bushman. Yeah. So like, when you walk down Shepherd's Bush High Road with him or whatnot, enough man are hailing him up. Yo, well, you know what I mean?
God.
And my mum had her own. And so like, sometimes they would integrate them together. Sometimes, Peter would be with his brethren and my mum would be there. Sometimes my mum would be with her friends and he'd be there. But other times they would have their own things, which like clearly worked for them. And like, I want to actually salute my dad as well, yeah? And one of the reasons why I want to salute my dad is because in reflection, with all of this, yeah, like, my dad never made it awkward. It was never, when I was at my dad's house, yeah, it was never awkward. It was never a situation where I'd go to my dad's house and I felt like I couldn't mention Peter. And it was never a situation where I was at my mum's house and I couldn't mention my dad. And this like, to emphasize how certified this man was, yeah, imagine like, in the time that he's passing, so much people that are like from my dad's side, which is the Lothian side, the amount of them that came to the house, that sent messages or whatever it may be, yeah, it was like, it said so much, because my mum is not family to them. They're not related family. I'm just the son of,
yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Uh-huh. But they treat her like family. And so because of that, he's come around and he's like, oh, no, right, wait, hold on a minute. He's certified. On top of that, he's helped because he's an electrician, he'd helped a few of my cousins and whatnot to get in, to start their career. as electricians and stuff like that. My dad used to always pull up to the yard, come check Peter and have a little one drink with him. If I'm going to my dad's house sometimes, whatever, Peter would say, yo, take one of them Guinness there, go take it to your dad's. Yeah, go and take it to your dad's or whatever. When Peter died, I went into the Lothian group, yeah, and I sent a long message to them. I got like my aunties, my cousins and all of that, yeah, and I said to them, you know what, yeah, thank you. Like, I proper appreciate the fact that, like, you treated him like family. Like, you treated him like family. You didn't have to do that. And loads of them were like, nah, he was certified. We had to. He was family. He was like family. But yeah, like, we did so much things together and whatnot. And, like, obviously they had their own lives. And, like, you know, one of the things that inspired me to even do the podcast in the first place was, which I said on the podcast a few times before, if you go to my mum's house here on a Sunday, right? Well, these are the things this is the aesthetics. You walk into the house, Roots FM's playing. Yeah? Roots FM's playing or Vibe FM's playing, yeah? Come about 5:30, mum's cooked up some food, whatever it is now. And then them two will be sitting around the table. If I'm there, I'll be sitting around the table with them. And then let's say a Dennis Brown tune comes on. They'll be talking about what that song meant to them, what they was wearing at that time, what was happening politically at that time, what was happening culturally at that time. This was the environment that I was raised in. So naturally now, there's, you know, Red Bull culture clashes happened. I want to talk about it. You understand what I'm saying? Boy Better Knows up there doing it. Something's happening with Skepta. I remember saying that here. Something's happening. I don't know what's going on, but something's happening. Like, the energy, the way that people was embracing, like, all of these things. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about where the origin of the sound system, how, like, what was actually happening there. Because at Red Bull Culture Clash, everyone had their own sound system. That's how it was back in the day. How do I know that? I learned that through them. I learned that through my dad also, but I learned that through them. And so I wanted to sit and have a conversation and talk about these type of things. Who better to do that with? Poe, yo, like, I want to do, what should we talk about? But I don't even know what, let's just talk about whatever. Yeah, because I want to talk about, yeah, because I want to, but that was, all of that was part of the inspiration. It was part of, like, being able to discuss our culture, discuss where we come from, discuss what certain songs meant to us and all of the things that happen around it and whatever. And obviously the pod has, like, progressed into some things that are outside of that, but that's the core, that's the basis, and that core and basis came, a big part of that came through them. I lived with him for a long time, and, you know, like, sometimes you can hear certain things about certain people, yeah? You can hear certain things about certain people, but when you live with someone, all they can be is themselves, bro. Mm-hmm. All they can be is themselves. There's only so much that they can pretend to be somebody else. The guy was so certified in his actions, not in what he said, but in what he did and how he did them. You know, sometimes he would say some stuff, but more time I'm watching his actions and how he's doing certain things. And, like, to me, the actions are speaking way louder than the words. There was a conversation one time we was talking about stepdads and stuff like that. And I know that there's a lot of people that, you know, feel that they don't like the idea of that. And I'm like, you know what? I have an amazing relationship with my dad, you know. When you already know, when you ring me on Wednesday evening and you ask me what am I on, what do I say I'm going to do?
See my stepdad.
I'm going to my dad's.
You did say you did.
Right, I'm going to my dad's. Me and my dad, whatever. I got a great relationship with my dad. Yeah. That relationship cannot be broken. No one could come in there and break that relationship up at all. But what it was is, with him, because he'd been in my life for such a long period of time, and he put a ring on my mum's finger, and he made my mum the happiest woman that I knew, yeah. If we were walking down the street one day and we're in bush, and a man turns around to him quickly, we're just walking down the street quick or whatever, and a man says, yo, go on, boom. Yeah, I mean, I ain't seen you for a long time, boy. Was that your son? Yeah, that's my son. That's cool. That's fine. Do you know why? This ain't my mum's man. It's not just my mum's main squeeze. This is a man who's come into this is my mum's husband. This is a man who's come into the dynamic, yeah? and contributed massively, and also in his actions have played a role in fatherhood to me, because he's helped nurture me. He hasn't come and said to me, oh, I'm going to be your dad. It's certain things that he's done in the environment that I've lived in and for the period of time that he'd been in my life was like fatherhood. There was things that he did. There was certain things that he taught me, and there was certain actions that helped in regards to like relationships, for example. Like watching the way that their relationship is, and like watching the way that he speaks to my mum, and watching the way that they argue with each other, and watching the way that they reason with each other, and watching the way that he reasons with me, and watching the way that he is with me, and the advice that he gives me, and all of these type of things. It's like it's like fatherhood. Elements of that is like fatherhood. So could a man turn around and ask, is that your son? And he turns around and says, yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. Yeah. His actions spoke, and vice versa. 2019, I was away. I was touring with Jay Prince, and I was having an amazing year that year, bro. 2019 was so good for me in so many different dynamics. Yeah. Professionally, things was good. I started working with Vice and that as well, which was like a thing that I had inspired to do. Not so much working with Vice, but filming that type of content. Yeah.
Shout out Alex Hoffman.
Honourable shout out to Alex Hoffman. Personally, things was going really well. Had a really good situation or whatever. I was very happy, bro. I was so happy. Yeah. And October.
The trim was always sharp.
The trim was sharp. So I didn't have hair like this though. So it was a different type of thing. You get me? But I was in Germany, and I got a phone call saying that not to worry or anything like that, but Peter, something was happening with Peter. So I'm like, okay, what's that? So my mum had told me that basically the first thing that happened was, so when he was eating, every time he was eating, there was always a small little bit of food at the side of his mouth, just a tiny bit. Yeah. And so my mum had said to him one time, why do you keep having food? Like, you've always got food at the side of your mouth. Why is that? Then he had said, oh, it's mad that you say that, because people at work say the same thing. I don't know what that is. It's weird. As the days went on, he started slurring his speech a bit. Yeah. And one day he woke up and he couldn't speak properly. He went to work and stuff. He's called my mum or whatnot. My mum's like, yo, you need to come back, because she's thinking he's having a stroke. My mum works in nursing and like that type of stuff. Yeah. Come home, you need to go to hospital because maybe you might be having a stroke. Peter, in true Peter fashion, wants to finish the work. He wants to get the job done. Yeah. So he's got the job done. That irritated my mum to bits. Yeah. But anyway, he eventually got home, and they went to the hospital and stuff like that, and they was there for hours until the next day. And so they did a bunch of tests and whatnot, and they realized, no, he's not having a stroke, but there's something that's on the brain. So when they did some testing on the brain, they realized that he had a tumor on the brain. Yeah. And so they wanted to test the tumor. So my mum had told me that. That's thrown me off to bits. So we finished the tour. Honourable shout out to Jay Prince. Honourable shout out to Moz as well. I love them guys, man. They was very supportive at that time when that was going on. Bro, trust me when I tell you. See, when I landed back from that tour, yeah, I didn't even drop my bags home, bro. I jumped in a whip and drove straight to the hospital, because he was in the hospital. So I've got to the hospital now. He's sitting there. He's like, he's cool. He's like just normal, whatever. They'd given him some tablets to reduce the inflammation around the brain, which was affecting the speech. So we're just chatting, give a big hug and whatnot, yeah. And he's like, right, like it's weird because I feel fine. Like something is serious, but I feel fine. And I'm saying to him, you know what, you're gonna be cool, man. You know what I mean? Everything's gonna be all right. Like, we'll just, you know what I mean? You got the support. Everything will be cool. You know what I mean? Don't just try not to panic too much. And you know, we're always here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we're in this together. Yeah. So yeah. So then, like in December, yeah, that was when they realized that like the tumor was a rare form of a tumor, and that like it's not curable, but they can tame it. Yeah, and then I remember they were talking about like the lifespan usually of that is like a year. I remember when they came home, and my mum and Peter were both evidently very, very flat, bro. Very flat. I'm like, what's going on? And they've told me what it is. In my soul now, I'm devastated. But the way that in this moment, I'm saying to myself, you know what, yeah? Peter and my mum are very upset, yeah? I'm going to try to control this, and I'm going to try to lift the mood up a little bit. And I'm on a vibe of, listen, I hear all of that, yeah? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go through the processes and all of this type of stuff, yeah? But we're going to try to create memories. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try to create memories. Because I didn't want to be the third person in the house that was down, and I just wanted to lift up the spirit a little bit. When I did my documentaries that I was doing with Vice, we did a screening, yeah. Peter went for his surgery at that time when I had the screening, yeah. And so he had the screening, and he had his surgery, and he lost his speech. So he was, all of his words were jumbled up, so he couldn't form sentences properly. I've got to come to the screening where my mum and Peter would be there as well, and I'm doing that because it's a weird one. It's like an oxymoron, bro. It's like, this is professionally one of the like most important times and one of my best times of my life, but also personally, this is a massive change in my life, like a massive change. As a parent, it's like something like this happening to a parent, yeah. So I've gone to see him every day. Could get to go and see him. I'll go and see him, whatever. And he was still in true Peter fashion, yeah. Still very upbeat. Couldn't formulate sentences and stuff like that too much, but he was still upbeat and still very like optimistic and whatnot. One day I've gone there to the hospital, and I think this is another time where like it started to affect me in a certain way. But I had a lot of things going on and whatnot. I think I was filming in Manchester, and I've come back from Manchester, and I've gone to see him at the hospital late, yeah. And we're just chatting. I'm talking to him, whatever. I took a picture of him, whatnot, and we're just like catching a vibe and thing. And we're walking to the elevator, and he's saying to me, he's basically trying to say to me like, it's hard, like it's a bit hard. And then he starts crying, yeah. And I remember like I thought, rah. There was one other time when I saw him cry, yeah, and it was at his wedding. And I won't go into that, but there was a reason for why. There was someone that wasn't at his wedding or whatever, and he was like really upset about it. So to see him like that, yeah, made me realize like, rah, he's in like not physical but emotional pain, yeah. And so like I'm hugging him and I'm saying to him, yo, like, don't, it's gonna be all right or whatever. And then I left here, and I thought, right, like, like all the emotions, yeah, got the better of me at that time. So I rang my brethren, chatting to my brethren on the phone or whatnot. So he's come out of hospital, and he's like going through the radiotherapy and stuff like that. But bro, when I tell you, yeah, in amongst all of this time, bro, he's smashing it, bro. Like, he's gone through such a change. He's a working man, and he's smashing it. And he's still showing bare love, and bare people are showing him that, and he's got loads of people that check for him, because as I said to you before, he helped a lot of people start their career in electrics, and that was his trade. And he's helped, family members, and, bare my brethrens and that check for him, because some of them are in trade and whatever it was, yeah. So like, he's smashing it, but he can't go back to work. And then, so like COVID happens, and it was like a real interesting thing, because this is now, we're all going through COVID now, yeah. And it's a big change, because there's a lockdown and you got to stay in the yard and whatever. And they were on a thing of, listen, you got to have, he was supposed to have chemotherapy, but they were saying, if you have chemo and you catch this COVID thing, you're definitely going to die. So we're not going to give you the COVID. Just isolate at home. Yeah. So I'm making sure that I'm like, I'm at home now, helping out, whatever. So
wait, say that again, because I think you actually missaid what you said. You said they're not going to give him COVID. You meant
they're not going to give him
chemo.
Sorry, yeah, they're not going to give him chemo. Yeah, because if he catches COVID, he'll definitely die. Yeah, while he's on chemo. So anyway, now, couple times he's trying to make, because he's a handyman and he's trying to keep himself busy and that. He's on the vibe of like I want to go. He wanted to go to like a shop to buy nails and things, and I'm trying to say to him, Pete, like, there's nothing open, you know. Then he's like, cool. Then like the next day, he's still on a vibe of like, he just wants to do some shit, yeah. So I literally had to go outside one day. I've gone outside to like in the Broadway near where I live, yeah, and I filmed it just to show him like what it looks like outside, yeah. And this is like the time when the proper coat, there's a real lockdown. You could only really go to the shops and whatever. And you know, people was being really extreme. So people was like walking out, they had a mask on, and it literally looked like a game. So when I showed it to him, he was like, rah, like that is like, he just thought it was so bad. So we catching some joke about that or whatnot. So now I'm on a vibe of, look, like, let's exercise together, let's do things, because you know what, yeah, even though I knew and I was very realistic about what was going to happen, at the same time I had the overstanding that we got some time together. Like, this is a time, yeah, where like we could spend some time together, create some memories and do these type of things, yeah. And he was still physically able to do stuff. When restrictions had opened up or whatnot, I'd drive him to his mum's yard because he was so close with his mum. And every Monday, that's what he would usually do. He'd go and check his mum, yeah? So I'd go and drive him to his mum's, and then I'd go off and do my thing, or I'd just sit in my car, or I might even sit in the garden. And like, so I remember sometimes I'd sit in the garden and he'll come out and be like, I said, do you spend all the time that you want with your mum? I'm not doing nothing. It's a lockdown. The only thing that I'm doing is recording podcasts. I'm fine. I will sit in the garden until it's dark outside. It's cool. Just go and spend some time with your mum. Do what you do. So I was doing that with him, and then subtle changes started to happen. And like, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because, bro, like, our brains, yeah, are like, they're so interesting, so powerful, but so fragile. So fragile, bro. Subtle changes. We're sitting down to eat, whatnot, and then like, he would sometimes have the knife and fork in the wrong hand. Yeah, and then have the knife upside down. And he would know that something's off, but he couldn't necessarily work out what it is. Pete, man, change it. You change it and then it's all right. Yeah. And then there was like a little thing that he had on his right hand side or whatever. But then this started to progress when it comes to the food and all of this type of stuff. But you know what? It was very important for me and for everyone that was around. Don't make this a thing and don't make it awkward, because he's the one who's going through it. And it's, as much as it is a shock to us, it must be even more baffling to him, because he's the one who has to go through it. So we have to just support him in that. Yeah. So, you know, anytime that there was, or it was messy or whatever it was, it's cool. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Whatever. Then there was like the processing. We started to realize that there was like a problem with the processing of the brain. So when you would like, as you're walking, naturally without thinking about it, left, right, left, right, left, right. That's how we walk, innit? Yeah. For him, it would sometimes be left, left, left. But then he wouldn't go, because he hasn't moved his right yet. So that was a thing. And then it was trying to work out the processes of how like you trigger that. And then I came up with this 1-2 thing. So I'd say to him, listen, this is 1, this is 2. Yeah. When we walk in, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then he would say it. And after he'd say it and he'd stop, then he's kind of got it. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's kind of in that thing. I'm recording podcasts all these times. I'm at home, I'm recording these podcasts and stuff, yeah. I had another situation that really threw me off, which was another personal thing, but I won't go into that. But I used to sit down with Peter sometimes and say to him, you know what, you're a G, you know. you're a G, bro. Like, not just because of this, just because of like just who you are. He just look at me and just laugh and smile or whatever. And like, he wasn't able to formulate words properly. And cut a very long story short, all of this started to really progress. Like you know, he wasn't able to eat properly. You know what? We'll take away the knife and fork. You know what we're going to do? We're going to eat with our hands. That's what we're going to do. You eat with yours. I'm taking away my knife and fork. I'm eating the same as you. So you don't feel different. You understand what I'm saying? If there's a difficulty with the knife and fork thing, that's cool. That can go over there. I'll eat my pasta with my hands as well. We're taking it back to the motherland, yeah? How about that, right? So he was doing all of that, and then there's the walking and stuff like got like really bad and stuff, and then like behavior sort of changes were happening, and but I remember just before all of this was happening, my mum and Peter, they got married in the Cotswolds, yeah, in August, and they would always go up there every year, and so they went up there this time to renew their vows, and my mum said to me, renew their vows? I think it's renew their vows. Yeah. So she's told me that they're going or whatever. It's a 2-hour drive. She was like, if you could come, it would be nice. I'm like, Mum, I can't make it. I said, Mum, I can't make it. So they've gone up there or whatnot, yeah. And one of my favourite videos in my phone, bro. One of my favourite videos in my phone. They've gone there the day before. On the day that they've got married, jumped in the whip. You understand what I'm saying? Threw some clothes on, whatnot. And I've driven up there without them realising, yeah. Imagine, as I'm getting to this place.
With the trim?
I didn't even have a trim that day. I didn't have a trim that day.
Come on, man. You should have killed them, but carry on.
Yeah. So, like, as I'm getting to the church thing, I see them pulling out. So I've videoed it on my phone. I see them pulling out, but they ain't seen me, yeah. So I'm driving illegally, I know, with my phone, and I'm like, yo, like, they don't even realise that man's in the Cotswolds and that, about to hit the church or whatnot. So anyway, as we've pulled up now, Peter's seen me, and I've got this on the thing, yeah. And he's looked at me and he's like, oh, like, he's so happy, bro. Like, come out of the car, whatnot, hugged there. Couldn't believe it that I've come up there. I said, listen, I'm not missing that, because I knew there was something in my heart that knew that this time next year might not be a thing. So I'm gonna be here, yeah. So yeah, that was like a special moment and stuff like that. And then a little while after, then that's when like all the behavior things started to change, and then there was all of these things that were happening in the house. We needed to get, like, because him coming up and down the stairs became an issue, so we got a stair lift. Honorable shout out to the palliative care team, by the way. Yeah, these people absolutely, they were so good. Anything that we needed, they fitted in immediately. Yeah, immediately. We needed a stair lift, got the stair lift in. We needed things for the bath or whatever, because he wasn't able to stand in the bath and whatnot. I have to shout out to a guy called Mohammed, yeah, who was one of the carers, the first carer that came in. And there was a part of me, if I'm being honest, yeah, when I heard him come and I heard him at the door, I thought, he's a young brother, yeah. You know what, I'm not even really trying to meet him. Like, I let him do his thing, whatnot, I'll just leave it or whatnot, yeah. One day, I've had to open the door, right, because my mum was doing something or whatnot. I've opened the door, Mohammed's at the door, he's like, I watch your podcast.
Yeah,
I laughed and I said, yeah, man, big up Mohammed. Like, obviously it's early morning. I'm not really trying to, I'm not really trying to do this right now. You know what I mean? And I'm not a morning man, yeah? But cool. Bro, I appreciate you coming in and helping out. Do you understand what I'm saying? And he was so good. He treated him like it was his dad, bro. Came in, Peter wasn't that receptive to begin with, but they came in, they were like really good help and stuff like that, yeah? And he's key for the ending as well, yeah, for what I say the end, because Mohammed, he was there from pretty much the start of that as well, yeah. So yeah, all of these things started to change, and there and then there was behavior things as well. Like, I remember one time he was trying to get him to bed and stuff, yeah, and like he was angry, but he wasn't angry though, because it wasn't him, and I knew it wasn't him. So I didn't take none of it personal, because I knew, okay, this is part of the process, this is part of the thing or whatever. I think a lot of people sometimes, when you're so used to seeing a loved one changing, like, you can take it a bit personal, because you think, what, like, why are you trying to shout at me? Like, I knew this is the episode, it's fine, and I know he loves me. He's showed me so much, like these little changes that are happening, yeah. I can't even explain the amount of love that this man has showed me. Like, it's I can't put it into words how much love this man showed me. So it's so full up over here. Yeah? Imagine like over here is like rammed to bits with love that I've been given. Yeah. Over here, he's going through a little something, and there's something that's a little bit off. You think that I'm gonna take that when there's this, and that's where and the core is this. It's fine, don't worry, man. It's a little bit of a fight, but you know what I mean. We get him to bed, but now I think we need to get carers in the nighttime that are gonna help. We had the recliner chair, we got him comfortable. You know what I mean. Everything he was at home and he was very comfortable, yeah. But it was difficult at the time because, bro, like, my job involves me coming out and having conversations and like filming content and all of that, yeah. I didn't want to leave my house sometimes, bro. Sometimes I didn't want to leave my bed. Sometimes I didn't want to leave my house. And a lot of the time I didn't want to leave him. A lot of the time I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to, we'd always make sure there was someone in the house, but I didn't want to leave. I wanted to be there. I want to, even though I might just be sitting there just doing my own little thing and he's doing his thing, whatever, I just wanted to just sit next to him, man. Do you get what I'm saying? And all that time, bro, I talk, when he got to the point where like he wasn't able to talk at all really or anything like that, I was still talking to him exactly the same. Pete, I'm just going to record the podcast. I'm back in a couple of hours, yeah? Love you, Pete, I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be back in a couple of hours. But these times he's getting to that point where he's not really that coherent. But you know what? As far as I know, his hearing is still okay. And sometimes, like, if I'm feeding him or whatever, or like, he might just go and reach my hand. He'd take my hand and he'd kiss my hand. Yeah, bro. Like them things. Like all of that, bro. Like those are the things that gave me the powers to even be able to come out and say, you know what, I'm recording today. And Callum knows, like, you know, sometimes I'll pick Callum up and I'm in the car and I'm quiet, or I'm going through something. It's fine. When I get here, I'm present. When I'm here, I'm present. When we're sitting and having conversations, I'm present. This acts as therapy in some way for me, because I'm chatting to my brethren or people that I'm interested in talking to or whatever, and it's like I'm away from it for the moment, and then now I can go back and give good energy to my foundation, my home, and with him and whatnot. Yeah.
Can I ask you one question in regards to that? Is that the first time you've had to put yourself in a position where you're like, because you're really good at, like, I wouldn't know if you was going through any relationship problems. I wouldn't know anything. This is the first time I saw you was going through something. Is that the first time that something in your personal life has affected you just day to day that much?
It's the first time that I've gone through something, yeah, that has affected my, I don't want to say behavior, but evidently my mood and maybe my aura at that time. So prior to that, I could be going through some stuff and I'm addressing the things that I'm going through because I will talk to my brethren about them. And I'm lucky in the sense that my friendships don't have filters. Like I don't have to, if I ring my brethren and I'm raging, my brethren allow me to rage, but they will reason with me. If I ring them one day and I'm mad upset and I might even be tearful, I don't feel like, oh shit, fuck, you know, just that man. I don't feel like that. I'm able to, and so that is like, that's the big help. But this was the first time where it's like, it's affecting me all the way until I sit here. It's affecting me all the way until I'm in doing the JD thing there. It's affecting me all the way until I'm recording whatever it is whatever it is, yeah. Until I'm in that moment, I'm able to be present. Prior to that, I'm not present. Do you know what? This is how deep it was, bro. In the morning.
I'm asking how long that was happening for. When did you notice that you go to work and now you almost have to kind of be quiet now just so you've got enough energy to do the task? When did you notice that happening?
It started initially, see, like early in the year, yeah. I had a situation, a private situation that I had with someone, yeah. And like once I was quite selfish in that a little bit, because there was something that we needed to address, but I was, because I was going through so much at the time, that was comfort, and I didn't want the comfort to go. So I was avoiding addressing it, because I was thinking, rah, shit, like I've identified I'm a bit fragile, yeah? And if I let this go, then like I don't have the comfort, and like there was a part of me that felt like I needed that, and so I didn't want to address any of it really. And so once that left, yeah, over literally a little while after that, that's when it sort of started, and I think it really started to affect me. I would say late July, early August. That's when it really started to affect me.
Up until now,
all the way up till now. When we did the checkup with Akel, then like like
August.
That was August.
Yeah,
like I was going through it, bro. And you know, imagine like, again, when I'm doing a checkup or whatever, I'm booking an apartment, I'm doing all that stuff, I might even just stay there. Do you get what I'm saying? But like, I'm away filming, but in my head, I don't want to be away from home, because just in case something happens or he needs me or whatever. But also I need to be present, and I also need to structure a conversation. I need to structure a conversation or whatever in a way that I would like the conversation to go. So my head is, I'm going through all different types of stuff, bro. Like, and then all the way up to now, it got to the point where it was like the morning times, myth.
I remember you saying,
myth.
So then maybe, sorry to keep
myth.
This is mad, this story. This is crazy, bro. I don't know how you've done this. Preparation wise for work, then, you couldn't afford to come here without prepping, because sometimes you can just freestyle the
facts.
Thing. You couldn't afford to prep. So from, let me get my head around this. This is mad to me. From July until now, you've had to overwork in a time that you have less energy to do it.
Yeah, in my head.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I've had to do that.
Christ,
morning time, myth. As the day goes on, I'm okay. I get, you know what I mean? I'm defrosted now. I've defrosted, and I'm sort of.
Also, you're not a morning person anyway.
Nah,
so
I'm shit in the morning.
But no, so it was bad. Chuckie was telling me about 4 p.m. he's ready.
Yeah.
4 p.m.
No.
See, on a Saturday, it's half time. United are losing. He's on ready vegs.
On Saturday, it's half time. But when it gets to 10 p.m. now, and let's just say like let's lead this up from like the last, let's say like the last 4 months, right? Because these are the times now where like the last 3 months, that was when we had evening carers, and then they would come put him to bed by about 8:30. We had a hospital bed downstairs and stuff, yeah. Like now I'm like, okay, cool, 10 p.m. I'm actually all right. Like I watch some things, whatever, chat to my whoever. But then I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what the morning's like. I know how I feel in the morning. I'm good now, but I know how I feel in the morning. So now I don't want to go sleep. Brother, I don't want to go sleep, because I'm thinking
the whole day trying to get out of that mood. And finally when you get in it, you haven't even got enough time to spend it. Because guess what? You're going back to sleep.
You understand what I'm saying? To go through that again.
Knowing that you've got work the next day and you have to do extra prep in this mood.
All of that.
Now I'm getting it. This is mad. Sorry, carry on.
All of that. So like the December hit, and I was speaking to my mum on the phone, yeah, and I said to her, you know what, like, we was just talking about everything. We was talking about 2021 and whatnot, and I said to her, look, like, obviously we know that Peter's not going to be here this time next year, and I said, but you know what, like, 2021 can be a bit of a tough year, but this is the way that we could try to look at it, yeah. If Peter had gone into the hospital, got diagnosed, and then died the next week, yeah, that would have been so tragic, because that shit happens. Like, that is like, people go to hospital, get checked for something, and then literally they just die, yeah. From a selfish point of view, that didn't happen with Peter, so we was able to, even though he was unwell, and he was evidently unwell, we was able to do a couple of things: make him feel comfortable, create memories, was able to do stuff. I got so much like videos of him, not fine, but in his good moments. Yeah. We was able to create stuff, bro. We was able to create stuff. And I said, you know, that's a beautiful thing. And I said, now all it is about trying to make him feel as comfortable as possible. But also what we have to understand as well is that my great grandmother at the time, she was 102. She's recently just turned 103. Yeah. I said, she could pass away too. Let's throw this in the mix as well, yeah. While this is going on, we're taking care of my great grandmother and my granddad, yeah. So the shopping needs to be done, and there's like a lot of juggling going on. Christmas Day, my mum's left to go to see my great grandmother. I'm at home with Peter. Then my mum leaves my great grandmother's to go to her dad's, my granddad's. Then when she gets home, I go to see my great grandmother. Then I go to see granddad. Then I come home. Then we spend like just that last the evening together. Peter's not able to talk at this point. So I'm saying to her, my great grandmother's like, you know, like she could die at some point quite soon. I said, my granddad's kind of getting there as well. And so obviously Peter's there. And I said that we can't control our emotions when it happens, but in some way we can be prepared for something that could be a strong reality, and also the fact that it could happen within a quick space of time, yeah, which she understood, and we had a really good conversation about that. January hit, yeah. Peter's mum had died. She went to the hospital, something was going on, whatever. She's come out of hospital, then she's gone back in, and then we've got a phone call saying that, like, if you want to see her, it would be good to see her now. But Peter wasn't coherent. Imagine, he's super close with his mum, and he's at a stage where he's like, the only thing that Peter was doing still at this time is, if you were playing reggae music, he was singing it. So if you play like a Berry's Hammond or something like that, he would sit in the chair when he would sing it, yeah. But his understanding of things wasn't that good. And he just wasn't really that coherent. So we've got his mum on the FaceTime, and he's looking at this was like 1 a.m, and he's looking, but he's not really understanding like what's happening. Yeah. So anyway, morning comes and she hadn't actually passed away. But then she'd passed away that next day, but in the evening. And then so we sat down with him and explained to him like, your mum's died and whatever, but he just didn't really it was either he didn't understand it, or the processing, he got it, he could hear us, but the processing he wasn't able to express the emotion. Does that make sense? So you know when you're given something and you take it in and you understand it, but you're not able to externally show your emotions. Mm-hmm. That's what it could have been, yeah. So then there was all of that. February, my granddad died, which is my mum's dad. And I remember like just before this happened, my uncle had said that my granddad wasn't that responsive or whatever it was. Yeah. Like, the doctor went down there and said, yep, he's at his last stages. So whoever needs to see him, there's no point taking him to the hospital. Whoever needs to see him can go and see him. So just so he's comfortable at home. So the day before he died, I went to the house, and I could see him in the chair, and he was like quite peaceful, but you could see that he was going, yeah. So I told him, I said, granddad, you was a funny one still, but I loved you, and I'm sure if you go back in the archives, I tell a story about when I started to change my perception of success, because I looked at my granddad. I was always going to my granddad's house, and I was always dropping the shopping off. And one day, Poet, I've pulled up outside the yard, yeah? I pulled up outside the yard to drop the shopping off. This was a Friday night. And I'm looking at this yard, and I'm saying, this is actually a nice yard, Like, I never even thought about this, but him and my nan lived in a nice yard. Yeah?
Take it for granted.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been there.
I'm pulled up outside the yard. I'm like, this is a nice yard, They live in a But then I'm saying to myself, like, I don't know much about my granddad and how this happened. So I dropped the shopping off one day, Poet, yeah? And like, my granddad's not a man of words. He don't speak like, he's just not a man of speak.
Man, yeah, they're not on that.
But I've dropped the shop, and what I'd always do is run upstairs. Yo, granddad, I got the shopping, yeah, I'm going to put it in the fridge. All right. Go put the shopping in the fridge. Run back up the stairs. Yo, granddad, you all right? he'll look at me for a little while. He might smile and he'll say, all right. Then I say, all right, cool. I'll be back in a couple of days or whatnot. Gone. This day I said to myself, you know what? I sat outside and I said, I'm going to interview him without him realizing that I'm interviewing him.
You never want to stop working, do you?
I know. I said, Granddad. He didn't say nothing. I said, how did you get here? And he paused there and he looked at me. He looked at me, which it felt like forever. And then he broke out in telling me this story about, he was in Jamaica. He was telling me about his life in Jamaica. Then he told me there was 2 boats. Kingston, yeah? There's 2 boats. One going to New York, one going to London. They both need carpenters. My granddad's a carpenter. He said, you know what? I chose the London one.
You could have been in New York.
I could have been in New York.
With Jay-Z?
With them, man. What?
And you chose to do the podcast with me, you fool.
This is what I'm saying. I could have been with Memphis Bleak and them, man. You understand what I'm saying?
It wasn't your choice.
So anyway, he chose that one or whatever. 3 weeks it took for him to get there. Saved up some money and said, you know what? My wife ain't taking the boat. She's getting the plane. So he saved up some peas, whatever, and then was able to kind of get her to get on the plane, yeah? My granddad's going through hella racism, bro. They're punching him up, hitting him around the head with things, spitting at him, all of that, bro. Like, all of the mad things that you could think of, he went through to the point of breakdown. And so that was all a conversation, which made me realize, you know what? You're successful. You were successful. You left Jamaica to come here, yeah, to build something. You flew your wife over and you was able to get a house in a time where everything was all against you and they didn't want you here.
They still don't, but
yeah, exactly. You understand what I'm saying?
They say success is the success doesn't exist in the ideal. Success exists in the objective.
Right. That's a good one still. So that happened. Obviously, you know, my mum was going through that type of stuff or whatnot, and then the stuff with Peter started to really, really progress. So, you know, you wouldn't hear his voice at all. His eyes was closed a lot of the time, and yeah, there was literally not much coming from him. But still, you know what? He was still eating and he was still drinking, and I was still talking to him, and you know.
What month are we in by this point?
This is February now, coming into March. Yeah.
So so February coming into March off the back of everything you've dealt
with.
All
of this, yeah.
You're there now.
Yeah, we're here now.
And
we're close. We're close to the end, yeah. So this is going on, like he's not talking, he's not really saying too much, but he's still eating, whatnot, and then, like, you know, there was like certain other things that sort of stopped and whatnot. And bro, like, trust me when I tell you, this was another thing, yeah. The amount of times where we were waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, because there was something was going on. So enough times, 5 o'clock in the morning, we got to get him up. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. We've got a thing, whatever. This was happening. And that was, I can't lie, that was hard. But I never wanted any type of atmosphere to feel like it's any type of a burden. Even though he might not be coherent, there's not going to be no like, there's none of that. I'm doing it with what I'm doing with him. I'm showing him, yeah, like, this is an honor doing this. This is an honor looking after you. You've looked after me all of this time. This is an honor. So we're doing this 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, hella times. Waking up, still got to record, still got to do all of this stuff. It was hard, but then, yeah, like, I was speaking to him, like, just talking to him and stuff, and just like still reminding him about a lot of things. But then what ended up happening was, it was looking like he wasn't able to see now. And when my mum mentioned that, when she sort of mentioned, can he see? I was looking, I was like, I don't know if he can. And that's when I realized, you know what, I think, I didn't say it, but in my heart, I was like, you know what, I think next week it might happen. But I didn't say nothing. The Harry and Meghan thing was on TV. And I remember we sat down, I sat next to the hospital. Remember I said there's a hospital bed downstairs now, yeah? So I'm sitting next to the hospital bed. The hospital bed's behind me. My mum's there. We're watching the Harry and Meghan thing, but Peter's like sort of just sleeping. And then we talked about it. I went to sleep, and I was getting ready for a meeting, and my mum would go out for a walk every morning while all of this was going on, just to sort of clear her head. She calls me, yeah, and I knew straight away when she called me, yeah, something was happening, because usually she'll come, knock, and tell me what's going on. I've ran downstairs, yeah. She goes to me, I think he's taking his last breaths. So she's sitting next to him on the bed, and he's like taking deep breaths. Like he's taking deep breaths, yeah, but not struggling. He's not struggling. He's just taking deep breaths, and he's got his eyes open, yeah. Bro, I put my arm round him. I had my arm around him, and I had my arm like holding his head sort of thing, and I was hugging him, and my mum was hugging him, yeah, and my mum was speaking to him, yeah, and we were just telling him like how much we loved him and stuff like that, yeah. And then, bro, literally, like, it just stopped. And then, like, we're still talking to him, yeah. And then, yeah, like, it stopped and that. And then I kind of got up, yeah, and then we was just staring, and was like, is that it? And then I put my hand on his heart, yeah, and there was nothing there, yeah. And then, like, obviously we just had a moment and that, yeah. But you know what, like, honestly, Poet, yeah, you know, when I pushed the sadness to the side, yeah, and then how that felt, yeah, you know, like, that was actually one of the most special things that have ever happened. Like, it was that moment, yeah, that moment was so, like, it was so special, bro. Like, 9:30 in the morning, this could have happened at any other time, and my mum might not have been there, or I might have been upstairs, or I might have been out, or whatever. This happened as the day was about to start, yeah, and we'd been there as a family for years, together for years, yeah, and we was together as a family while he was going through this. It was together as a family while we was going through this, yeah, and it's like, it felt as though it was almost like it's almost like he waited for us, bro. And to have that, to hold him, and to have that at that time, when you push the sadness to the side, bro, it felt so special, man. It felt like, it's hard to explain. I've been trying to figure out a way to articulate it, but there's something in when someone takes their last breath like that. There's something, it's so deep. It's like, I'm not a parent, but you know, you bring a life into the world, and a baby comes out and it cries for the first time and stuff, and it's like, rah, this is a whole life. And in that moment, you realize that, rah, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. You get that moment again, even in that, you're like, rah, like, I'm holding him, and he's taking these breaths and that, and then it stops, and then it's like, rah. It's like the soul leaves, and it's like, oh, bruv. And then imagine, so one of the reasons why I said it was key to mention Muhammad, yeah, is because the carers are due to come. So the carers came like 20 minutes after that's happened, and it's Muhammad, yeah. So we've told Muhammad what's happened or whatnot, and that was special because he was there, and he was there when Peter was able to, you know, is that what I'm saying? So he came and he got to say goodbye, yeah. And I told him, I said, bro, like, I'm so thankful for you and your guys that came and helped and treated him the way that you did and whatever. And they were like, you know, we had a really good conversation, and then they left, and then the doctor came, or the nurse came. The nurse was supposed to come anyway, and so like the nurse came like 10 minutes afterwards, and then so the nurse came, and that was the nurse that had been there from the beginning too. So it was mad. It was like all of these, the people that had actually come at that moment, they were supposed to come anyway, but they were all the people that had been there from almost the beginning of the stages of what was happening. So then they got to say goodbye. And after that, me and my mum, we just sat there. The curtains were closed, and we talked for like 2 hours, bro. Just reminiscing, and obviously crying and reminiscing some more, and, you know, talking about a lot of things. And just like, you know, I could not keep saying, like, this man smashed it, bro. He smashed it, bro. He smashed it. He came in and he smashed it. He smashed it. Like, it couldn't, he literally could. And I know that some people say, like, you know, when someone dies or whatever, people always have nice things to say or whatnot, yeah. Trust me when I tell you, yeah, you have to exaggerate this in your mind for you to fully understand. No one can't tell me a bad thing about this man because I lived with him and I knew him, and the people that are around him, they they had such a connection with him, yeah. And the love that he brought them was like, bro. And to the fact that, like, my dad and all my other family, do you know how many of them came to the house? Enough of them have come to the house. They loved him. They loved this guy. How can you have a man who is the partner of my mum and my family on the other side, the Lovians, who are not related to my mum, feel this deep?
It is testament to the people that you all are, though. There is something really special about you, Chuckie. Like on a grown thing, like when you put into perspective what you've had to deal with, and I'm hearing that story. There's no dress rehearsal for that right now. Like, you mean people can tell you whatever they want, but like you had to go through that. It seems like a little bit alone to a certain extent because you're a younger man, and then you can't even go through it like with you as your first thought. Like, you're going through this and your first thought is never you. And the only time you have to yourself is to build up to actually attack your day, which you start at half time on a Saturday. But I think that level of pressure, and for you to continuously do Halfcast Podcast, but let's not stop there. Let's talk about the stuff that you've done with Vice. Let's not stop there. There's the +44 stuff. Let's not stop there. You're doing the checkup. Like, the amount of work you're having to do where, again, my bro, you are not your first thought. You're interviewing someone. It's always about somebody else. For you to be the rounded individual you are, Peter being a great man makes sense. Your mum being a great woman makes so much sense. Your family on the side of your dads being the people they are. Cause that moment where you shared him, him leaving physical form, I'll be mad real with you, bro. Like, I have a very, very different perception of death. And I understand, along with tax, it's the only thing that's going to happen. I'll be mad real with you. If there's any way I want to die, if there's any way I want to go, that sounds like a pretty good way. Because that is, to me, a complete reflection of your life. The people that you invested so much time and love into. And again, it even lets you know, but Pete is a special man. It lets you know that all them people that neglect their kids, here's an example why you shouldn't neglect kids. Because someone was willing to sacrifice so much of their own time for a man that isn't even their dad. So when people are investing time into children and they think they're not getting a return, this story here, for me anyway, is a prime example of you invest into your children. Not only do they become a well-rounded individual like Chuckie with a fantastic career, just a great person, but guess what? When you're at the point where you need help, that's the first man that's there for you without you even having to call him. Chucks, mate, I'll tell you what, mate, shake your hand, you fucking great man. You're a fucking great man. Great man, bro. Fucking hell, geezer.
Yeah, so like, I think like, because of that, yeah, so obviously that's happened and that, and yeah, well, obviously we spent some time and whatnot, and then the people came to take him, and then we had some family and that came over, a couple of my brethren come over and that, and I remember I had a recording that day, and I rang Callum, yeah, and I said, I know we got to record today. I don't know. I said we still might record, but we might not. We'll see. As the day went on, I think because that moment was so special, yeah. Because it was such a special moment, it's like, had it have been tragic, if it was a thing that was tragic, I would coming out and doing that. It just would never have happened. It couldn't have, because it was such a special moment, and like. You know what I mean? we're showing these emotions and all of that, yeah. But I'm chatting to my family and I'm chatting to my brethren and we're discussing it and we're having like some deep conversations about it and death and all of these things or whatnot, yeah. You know what? It's like in some mad way, it energized me. When it got to like 6 p.m, I thought, you know what? My cousin Elliot, yeah. I love Elliot, man. That's like, he's my cousin, but he's my brother. Like, he's my brother. We been around each other since birth. And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna come with you. I'm coming to the pod with you, man. Let's go. So we came. I never said nothing. And this was the Harry and Meghan episode. Peter died that day. That day when we came in and we had that conversation about Harry and Meghan, stuff like that. He died that morning, and we recorded what? We recorded at like 9:30 p.m. 10 p.m. Late. Yeah, so like, but at that point I was able, because in my mind I was like, you know what, this is a time now where I can sort of get away from it for a little while. We was in the thick of the emotions that day. My cousin's come with me as support. He fucks with you, by the way. He proper fucks with you. Like, enough times, like he'll ring me and he'll say like he'll say things like, yeah, like, but what he's saying is true though, because like when you deep it, yeah. And even when we was on the way home, like we was like reflecting on the episode and that, and he was like, yeah, bro, because look, even what he's saying is true though, because when you like, and so we do that, and like, so he probably fucks with you still. But so that was like, I needed that little support at the same time too, of him coming and just being there and whatnot, and like me being able to just try to be present in that moment and deliver the conversation that we did. But you know what, like, I'll just wrap this part of the conversation up by saying that, like, I gave him his flowers when he was alive, and I had to give him his flowers even now, because he was an absolute certified G. He was, he played his position so well. And I was watching something the other day with on I Am Athlete, and it was Dwayne Wade, who's a basketball player. He was the guest, yeah, and he was talking about his relationship with I can't remember her name. She's a famous actress. I don't know if you're allowed to say actress anymore, but whatever it is, yeah. So,
are you not allowed?
What? Yeah, I think you just have to say actor.
No. I'm sticking with actress.
All right, yeah. Well, this is a conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. Carry
on. So anyway, but I think she's got a child from before. He's got a child from before, whatever. And they were talking about the dynamics of growing their family or whatever, and not trying to replace anyone. But he mentioned something that I thought was really suited to me anyway. Maybe not to anyone else, but he talked about the bonus dad. And I was like, that's exactly how it felt. I got a great relationship with my dad. It's solid and certified and will be forever. Yeah, it will be forever. Me and my dad get on very well. He's a Chelsea supporter. Yeah, I don't know how you get proud. What? Yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm
gonna call him Marcel Desailly now.
Yeah. And so and their relationship, my dad and Peter's relationship was very good. Like, as I said, my dad would roll up to the yard, vice versa, and he did while Peter wasn't well either. But Peter had been in my life since I was like 9 years old, and just by default, over a period of time, he played a father figure role in the house by his actions and by things that he did, not by saying, this is what I'm going to do and this is who I am over you. It was never that. It was just the relationship that he had with my mum, and then the relationship that he had built with me was as such, and that's how it felt for me. So when I heard that term, I was like, if that was ever a term and that could ever be a thing, he was the sickest at it. And an honourable shout out to anyone that meets somebody who has kids, and finds themselves in that home, in that dynamic where that person is growing their children, and they go and they play their position without trying to be anyone. They do this from, the core love, the what's right. And
is he a man of God?
Not really. He was not really.
Your mum?
My mum's like a spiritual person. Like, my mum's very much, and like, my mum has like a lot of deep. My mum has like a lot of deep perceptions on death and stuff. Like, having those type of conversations with her are things that, like, she loves them. because she loves talking about spirituality and these type of things. But
I'll be real with you. I made a lot of prayers for you, and I think a lot of people watching this podcast would have done a lot of prayers for you.
Yeah.
And situations like this make me even believe in God even more than I do now.
Right.
For the simple fact that there's not one man on planet Earth that can explain to me why you had the moment you'd had with Peter and your mum. There's not one man that can justify it. You can try, you can go to the hospital and say all of this stuff just so we can have a way to conclude it.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that I can say, no, we can't discuss this. But you know who one man that can? God. Because I just feel like if you do what's right within life, here's a visual example that it's never easy. But you know what? That's a very blessed way for... you know, your soul to leave planet Earth 100%. In order for you to engage yourself with the angels. And Peter clearly was an angel. And I'm just coming from the world man's coming from. There's a lot of ways to go. Yeah. Where it ain't that beautiful, bro. Where it's, you know, it's not that peaceful. And just to know that he had a sense of peace. Yeah. Like, I feel like, rest in peace is definitely the thing I can say here, because that's what he deserves purely because of the work he put in being a good person in the household that you are. Yeah. You were in. And then you're a product of that, with your mum and your dad, and then you're going to carry on the good work that he and your mum have started to a certain extent, and then like you're going to tell all the stories to your children. So that children is going to be doing Peter's work and your mum's work and not know. And I just think that's God, because someone had to start telling you what the work was. Right, for real. So I just think blessings to you and your family, man. What a amazing and obviously group of people.
My mum as well, like she's went through a lot and has gone through a lot and is going through a lot. And needs a lot of support, and you know, she's got that obviously through me. As I said, I got a good relationship with her, and I think for her it's like it's difficult her fathoming how the future looks. She can't. I think that's a very hard thing for her to try to deep. We bury him tomorrow. This comes out by the time this happens, but yeah, we bury him tomorrow, and then so like, you know, he stays with us and all the memories and shit that we created with him or whatever. But you know what, like sometimes when someone passes away, someone like that, and someone who plays such an important role in your life, I think I could easily see why some people would say it feels like there's a hole, there's a void, there's something that's missing, yeah. But you know what? See, for me, yeah, it's like all this time he was digging this hole, yeah, and he was just filling it with bare love. He's digging it and just filling it with bare love. And now that he's gone, that hole doesn't exist. It's just filled with love. I still feel it, bro. I still feel it. And that, to me, is like some superpower. That feels like a superpower, bro. Honestly. And that's why I feel like now I'm probably able to talk about it a lot better and whatnot. But what a G, bro. What a G, bro. What a man, bro. I swear to you. What a man.
Right, you're a strong guy, Chuckie, man. Credit to you. God bless you. You're a strong man, bro. Yeah.
2020 was nuts. I remember sometimes I was lying down and saying to myself, fuck, 2019 was so sick. Like, how did we get here? Nah, hold on, wait, one sec. Can't dwell on that. I can't dwell on that. We got time still. We can do some stuff. You know, try not to drown in that too much. Address it, talk about it. Of course, chat to your man, chat to your friends about it and stuff like that. But you know what? Like, in these moments, yeah, we got a little piece of time on this world, on this earth, yeah. We got a little piece of time on it, as much as we can. See, like with your kids and stuff like that. And I know that you know this anyway, but having a conversation like this could make people think, shit, man, fuck. You know, this was a conversation I was having with someone that's thinking, I got kids and like, you know, they're going to have to go through this and maybe with me and whatever. And I said, nah, don't look at it like that. I said, you know what you do? Help create the wickedest memories. Because you know what happened? You see, when Peter died, do you know what we was doing? After the crying, me and my mum sat and laughed. We sat and laughed about all of the things that happened, like with, you know, some of the funny things that he did and some of the funny things that had happened. And, you know, you remember when this happened, and remember when he used to do this, and remember when he used to do that, and remember when we did it. And then we talk about all of these things or whatever, yeah. Those are the most important things. And my mum said to me, she was proper scared that she was only going to remember him in his sickness, yeah? And she was so happy that, like, afterwards, she was quickly able to remember his voice and all of these things. Because it's so, you'd be so surprised at how things become your normal. When, like, this is now, whatever, cool. Someone gets sick, it's sad, yeah? They might lose their voice. For the moment, it's sad, and then after a while, that becomes almost normal. You almost become used to that person not being able to speak anymore. You almost become used to the hospital bed being downstairs. You become used to the stair lift. You become used to all of these different things. Like, you become used to all of them. So sometimes now, once it stops, you think, oh shit, this was so strong. This is what you're gonna remember. Nah, when you live a life, yeah, of purity, yeah, and you know you're at creating memories, whether you're conscious of it or it's a subconscious thing, those things come to the forefront of your brain once you go past it. Believe me when I tell you. This
is what I will say though, because it's difficult for someone to have that perception without one thing. The thing that gives you the perception is the journey. The journey you've taken is very unique, which allows you to have them moments that you've had at the end of it and for you to reflect.
Yeah.
I think you have that because you value time.
Yeah.
So I agree. Whether we have a lot of time or a little bit of time, I don't know. But the way you invest your time in family, it makes me reconsider how I have to invest my time in family, and then that's how I will have that moment at the end. But some people just think being around family or making time for family gives you that opportunity at the end.
True.
It's not. It's just what you do with it. And going to Big Ben taking the picture is not enough.
Right.
Chuckie, you've proven you're able to sit down in a garden with bare minimal resources and learn how to have a good time with that individual. That means everything else is an added bonus. And when I listened to that story, all I heard was a man that was like, it doesn't matter where I go with PR or with my dad or with my mum or my cousins, we have a good time. We feel strong together. And that's what I would advise people. If you've listened to this story, take it in. Understand it's family, bro. Like, you have to invest good love and into family, man.
And you know what? Also with that as well, man. Like, I appreciate both of you because I've had conversations with both of you about all of this while I was going through it and whatever, and like even just the conversations of us just being outside of this has been a big help for me massively. So yeah, man.
Oh, you're a fucking rude boy, bro. You're a strong one, fam. You're proper strong, cuz.
Love, man, bro. Yeah. All right.
My brother.
Boom. That's me. What are we doing here now? Are we flipping over? You want to flip over?
Yeah, that means I'll count him another £150, but let's do it.
So where are we? What are we? Like, what are we doing? What? So we're here. So it's like the one post show.
Yeah.
It's like the one post show. We're in my setting. We're in our setting still, actually.
Yeah.
We're in our setting. And I know for a lot of people, I feel like we're recording a podcast, but we're not really though.
Yeah,
I mean, we are, but we're not.
Yes, it's whatever you want.
Yeah,
I don't even want to overcomplicate it. The title's just there because we need titles, but it's whatever you want. It is the One Post Show, and I'm having the pleasure of talking to Chuckie, and I'm glad because I want Callum to keep the mic as well because he's very important for One Post Show to me. Very, right. Very, very, very important. So yeah. Yeah,
he's here. He's behind the camera a lot of the time doing his bits and pieces.
Cause he's always working, fam. Like even when you were telling the sad story, I'm there in tune. My man's fixing the mic. I'm like bomba clat, dog.
How are you, though? How are you, bro? Like, how are you?
Finally good. Finally good, man. Yeah.
Why do you say finally?
Because, my immaturity made me believe that any time that was bad, I didn't understand why it was bad, but I just felt the next day, if you just forget about it and think positive, it will go away. So understanding life a little bit more has made me realize I can say to you now, I'm finally good. It's been exhausting, but yeah. So yeah.
Do you, when you talk about the immaturity stage, like what do you mean by that though? Like what do you mean? Are you talking about just inexperience of life and how you deal with people, or something deeper than that?
I'm very naive.
Yeah.
I'm very naive to sometimes the people that I will let the closest to me. And I looked at the ideal as the reasons that they should be there, and it's about what's right.
Right.
And working in the job that I work, we work with a lot of ideals. It's the ideal to get a lot of numbers. It's the ideal to get this, and people put that ideal on you, and it looks like a necessity.
Right.
And I just don't think that's an ideal for a human being. So when I'm having to work in a field that is completely against my morals, it was just messing man up, fam. I'm constantly having an argument every day because I'm doing something as a freelancer that I don't want to do. So then now I'm naive into people saying, don't worry, that's not going to happen. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll trust you. And then you're consistently trusting a bag of people with the ignorance of life in a very complex job. It's mad, bro. Like, it's so mad.
Do you know what? We can talk about that a little bit, actually. But do you know what I want to do, yeah? Because I feel like I got a way that we can lead into it, yeah? How different has your journey been coming up to this point to what you expected it would be when you started?
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Chuckie, I'm a fan, bro. And that's what I think even people watching today don't realize, because maybe they've looked at me completely different. So when all of this starts, I'm a fan of grime.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm in grime, because grime starts in East London. Grime starts in Bow with them, man. Mm-hmm. That's how I've grown up thinking about it. And I think of grime, I think of Big Nasty in South London, Dice Recordings. I think them more than I think anything in Ferry Lane. But because all of the situations are built upon the same principles that exist in Ferry Lane, we're part of it just by default. We're young, we're black, we're Jamaican, we're out here. There's sound system, there's grime, there's everything. You're just part of it. But I'm still a fan. So my first entry point to it is a fan. So that hasn't changed now. The reasons why I like to help people, the reasons why I want to do stuff is because I'm a fan. I want this to be as big as possible, built upon real street code ethics that I feel are a hell of a lot more easy to understand than the codes and the ethics of working this job. They change too frequently. So the moment you're good at it, 4 years later you're shit at it. Whereas if you apply the family code and the codes even of road into what you do, there's a level of consistency, which means you're nines.
Right.
In opposed to being whatever's hot now, and we all know it won't be hot in 3 years, 4 years, and then that person will be on Twitter complaining about whatever someone done to them. Like, that is just, yeah. Like,
but did you understand that from the beginning, though?
No, I didn't know any of it. I'm just a fan, Chuckie. I've come here as a fan, naive.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone's cool. Because I love someone, I've completely forgotten their journey. And all I care about is my love for you. So, and some people live up to it. Like, Getz has just surpassed whatever I thought of him. Skepta has surpassed whatever I thought of him. But there's other people, I'm being so real with you, they haven't even got anywhere near what I thought of them. When I've met them, they're not the person that I thought. They're very selfish, or like, I was just a naive fan, bro. A naive fan. And to this day, I think I've literally come out of it in the past year of being a naive fan, and everyone else perceives me as something else. I'm just a naive fan.
So then how do you see, like, with the perception and how people perceive you? Because sometimes I feel like you're misunderstood. I know you, and so, like, I feel like you can be misunderstood, and sometimes people do perceive you as something different. How do you deal with that? Or actually, what's the difference between how you would deal with that today to how you would have dealt with that a year ago? Because you're saying, like, up to a year ago, pretty much, you're a naive fan, but you've done so much, you've gone through so much, you've worked with so much different brands, so much different people. There's so much, the infrastructure's changed, but also you've grown as an adult. So, like, what was the difference between how you would have dealt with that prior to how you would deal with that now?
I don't deal with it now.
Right.
Prior, so just to give a bit of content and understanding, like, when I've come into this world, I'm broke. I have no money. I have like £6 something in my account. Right. I've not come here with anything. I don't have anything. My house has no furniture. It has no flooring. Like, I've come here with the money in my left pocket, bro. That's how I've walked into this scene. But the beautiful thing about that is I have a story. I've done youth work for like 10 years. I've helped various people way before we've got into the mechanic of whatever this world is. Like, I've had a whole mad life. So much things have happened to me. I've had a heartbreak. We've been rushed. We've been like everything. I've done youth work. It's such a complex job doing youth work. I'm talking about, sometimes we had one individual, shout out my boy Democrats, I love him to bits, fam, but he had problems going to another area in North London. So my friend Tyson would have to drop him home, and then I'd have to have an hour conversation with his mother about trying to get him to be a professional footballer, despite the fact he has street politics he has to deal with. Like, that's my everyday life growing up for 10 years before I've even stepped foot. And because I've given my all to it, at the end of it, I've been made redundant. I've had to leave because the hours are like, people screwed me over in that. Shout out Richard, shout out Mikey Donaldson, shout out Robert. Those 3 people held me down. Errol Brown, they held me down. Berkeley held me down. Without them 5 people, especially Richard and Mikey. Without
who
Richard
are they? Who are they?
Richard Allacott is a guy from he's from Tottenham, and he grew up in Ida. So he was like a little. His brothers were like rude boys, and he was like. He had trials with Nottingham Forest when he was younger with Jermaine Genius. Like, he was dope at football. But then he became a community development officer, a youth worker like me. Yeah. And he's absolutely killing it now. But at the time, we were just in the same position, kind of, more or less. And then Michael Donaldson, who now, he's out here with Scott Parker, working with Reading. Like, he's a top coach. Like, but at the time, we're just like 3 boys that just want to improve the area that we know a lot about off the strength of just, it's the right thing to do. Like, I couldn't give you a detailed explanation, but I do know that growing up in my area, it was bad, and we just want to change certain things. So that's just and them 2 were not naive. They were never naive. Yeah. And they kind of carved me out of being naive. They were never naive. So by the time I've come into this world, Chuckie, as a fan, bro, the way I deal with situations right now is I realize I don't have to deal with it. Right. Growing up, you go through so much. Your life is so mad. There's something happening every day. Your perception is that's life. Yeah. I remember going to like a couple of my white mates' house. Their weeks, I stayed like 4 days at their house. Life is calm, my brother. Dinner's at the same time every day. Lunch is at the same time every day. Yeah. Like, the things you do, you actually want to do. Yeah. Your parents sit down and discuss things with you. Yeah. There isn't a dismissive attitude to you. But when you grow up in the hood, my brother, it's different. My G, no one didn't have. I've got 6 people in a 2-bedroom house, bro. Like, in Ferry Lane. Like, really? That's what I'm living in. 6 people in a 2-bedroom house. So my ability to sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. In that household as well, because you got a really flamboyant personality. Yeah. Yeah. Is everyone like that? Oh, they're all crazy. We're all crazy. We're all crazy people. And then on top of that, you got to throw in that there is no structure. My dad doesn't work a 9 to 5. My mum doesn't work a 9 to 5. So this thing is just a freestyle. Yeah. This thing is like one blood game. You don't know what's coming next. The remix that was like 24 hours long. Like, that was my life. Just, you didn't know what was going to happen next. So I'm naive to a lot of things because I haven't had that structure of this is the way you should be treated. This is what should happen. I'm just like, let's try and fix things. We just got to do what's right. Right. So I'm a fan of this now. I come into this world. Now that I've learned what I've learned, I've realized, you see, if you're not doing the right thing for yourself, there is nothing I can do for you. As a youth worker, the ideal was given to me too much. You have to do this by a certain age, and you have to do this in order to get these certain numbers.
That's dangerous, I feel.
My brother. Yeah. And the same thing happened when I started working in here. You have to do this in order to get these numbers, and you have to do this, and you have to work with this brand, and you can't say this about this person. And it left no growth for personal development. I'm too busy taking instructions from everybody. Right. So I become naive because I'm trusting loads of people, just like it was in youth work, who consistently are going to let you down, bro, and you begin to think that is life. Right. Although you're doing loads of other things that people can see, on a personal day-to-day thing, you have no control of your life, bro. So I say I don't deal with it now because I've now realized, wait a minute, when I wake up I hear Papa. Right. If anything
perspective, yeah.
takes me away from having to tend to that, I'm afraid you're not good for me. After hearing your story today about Peter, that's the life I want, bro. If it just happens to be me, Zion and Khalifa at the end sitting down, my G, that's the way God intended it then. That's the way it has to be. But I'm not gonna have any more in my life a room with 20 people and I feel lonelier than I've ever felt in my life. And that is why I kind of
have you see like naive. In this, because like again, I feel like you being in this before there was even an infrastructure the way that it is now. And you were just doing it just for pure love. You were just doing that out of pure love. But did you ever did you have a lonely stage, like where you actually just felt like you was just on your own?
The whole thing's lonely. The whole thing has been lonely. The whole thing. Until Zion and Khalifa, the whole thing has been lonely. The life I lived before this, I don't come into this world with anyone. Everyone nowadays, they can make a crew and they've grown up with them, or your neighbour's doing it. Like everything you're doing with people, you've grown up with them. When I've stepped into this, I've come in with Smiler, I've come in with Scribs, I've come in with Bo. The only thing I have on all of them, and I think I have it on a lot of people, I can confidently say this, I will outwork you. You can be more talented than me. I will find 25 hours in a day. You're not prepared to do that. That's what happened with us though. We had something called The Click. And it was Poet and Scribs, we had Never Gonna Blow. And I thought if I'm like, I'm stepping into this world and my brethrens will be here forever.
I'd love, do you know, by the way, I'd love for, if you could, Callum, get something on the screen where there's a footage of Poet and Scribs, I believe, at a pirate radio, and they're in there. I can't remember the top that he's wearing, but it's they're both in their bar. Is it? Yeah,
the Gap jumper with the Christmas Gap jumper. It was lit. Yeah, bro. That's the. And even when we used to go pirate radio, I'm going with all my friends from Ferry Lane, like Finbar, Michael Gribben, Chris Bell, shout out Gareth, like Tyson's there. All my friends, genuine friends. By the time I've stepped into this world, we've grown up. My friends are working 9 to 5s. My friends are doing other stuff. So that sort of, hey, what you doing today? Let's roll out. Cannot happen. I'm the only person that can do it. The first person that I meet that's like, yo, let's try and take this serious is Mitch. And that's because we're in the same damn area of Wood Green. Like, prior to that, I'm in Tottenham and me and my bro are filming stuff. But at the older you get responsibilities. You don't have that freedom of being like a 17-year-old, do what you want. Nah. Man's in my 20s now. All right, cool. I'm in my early 20s. We need to get it. Like, man are going to Miami. My brother's saying to me, I'm in Miami right now. Them man are doing beats and better things. It's lit for them.
Yeah.
Whilst they're in Miami, I've got minus £150 in my account.
Listen, do you know what? Let me tell you something. The reason why, that is key is because I almost had the same thing myself as well, where it was like, I'm trying to find my way through the content and the DJing type of thing. But my brethren have kind of got jobs, There's a stability that they have that I don't have. And so man can go Thailand and you understand what I'm saying? That's a myth for me, bro. Because when I'm looking at the account, it's not matching to the vibe that these men are.
Now, pause that. I look at that as a working perspective. When we done Never Gonna Blow, I'm a youth worker. Right. I'm in Ferry Lane. I'm going to Wood Green to do stuff. So I've got bare youths that will promote this song for me off the strength of just liking me and understanding me. So I'll never have that problem of why is Poet moving like that? Because there's too much people that get me. On top of that, Chris Bell, light skin, everyone loved him. In Tottenham College, he's the man. He's moving like Trey Songz in his early days in there. He's moving like Fredo now. Like, every gal loves him. So when he put the song on his MySpace, I've got a group of people that will mess with me off the strength of just what we do and love. There's no numbers. There's no perception. The song's not big. It's not on channel. So by the time we've gone Channel U and all that's happened, man's got an organic group of people that understand me with my friends. Right. You go and watch the video now. R.I.P. Nana. Nana's in the video. My boy Tyson's in the video. All my brethren, Scribs, Baba Tunde's in the video. Okay. Like, everyone's in the video. Cool. By the time I've done Poet's Corner to That's a Rap, my friends are not around like that no more. Everyone's doing stuff now. So now I don't have that core group of people that I can just say something and everybody understands what it means. I now have to really watch everything I'm saying and figure out a way to be whatever I need to be in front of a new group of people. I don't know me from nowhere, so I'm with Quazon now. I don't know Quazon from nowhere. He's much younger than
Quazon,
me.
For those who don't know, yeah, he's a videographer, right?
Yeah, videographer. And the reason why I had to respect Quazon is because off the back of doing Poets Corner, I had the idea for That's a Rap without the name, and I approached 3 people. I approached my bro. He couldn't do it because he had stuff to do. Cool. I approached Capone. Capone couldn't do it. Look at what he's doing today. He had loads of things to do. Quazon was up for it.
Yeah.
We've done that. But now that means I have to work with a new person that I don't know that well. And he's going to have people that he wants to work with that I don't know.
Right.
And the people that I want to work with, they're kind of doing other things. So I'm kind of just got to create as much ideas and incorporate whatever I can into it as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I still had able to have like Young D, Scribs and people feature on the show that I knew were my brethrens, but they're not with me day to day. So I'm having to even deploy a new way of behaving because I can't be the Ferry Lane Pole here. It's too mad. The Ferry Lane Pole is mad. Like I can't be that. So I've got to be a watered down version of that to do That's a Rap. Cool. We're doing That's a Rap now. Working with Mitch, I'm realizing Quazon now is getting older. He's doing his thing. There's things he wants to do. Now I'm back in the same scenario again. I've got to find a new group of people to work with that I don't know and try it. Bruv, it's difficult, bruv. And that's how you get naive because you always have to trust people.
Yeah.
By the time I've come into the scene, bro, none of my brethrens around me now. My friends have got 9 to 5s. They've got youths. They've just got things that they're doing. And it's just me, myself, and Vuj. And I know Vuj through Twitter. But I'm never going to sit there and say me and Vuj are best friends at the time.
Oh, no, it's fine,
Yeah, I'm never going to sit there and say me and Vuj are like best friends at the time. We're just like, he's dope. I respect him.
How did you meet Vuj, though? Because you know what the thing is, yeah?
He's lit. Vuj is too lit.
There was a point when I met you. I remember I met you jump off times, right?
Come on, that's wild pole.
Right.
That's wild.
These
pole.
times, yeah. Okay, so jump off for people who don't know, we did jump off debates, yeah, and it was like we was in a space where they would film us talking about certain things, and we were doing it before you had come, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone invited you. I think I might have been there maybe 3 episodes before you was there, yeah. Then you've come in, flamboyant, loud, mashing up the whole thing, whatever.
And that was watered down.
That was it. But it worked, and you know, going back, even in hindsight now, yeah, you know, you're very open about like the money situation that you was in or whatever it was, yeah. But looking back now, I can kind of see where because you was like walking a lot of places. You was like
everywhere.
You was on the walking thing, rain, sleet, slow. Like, Poe, what? Where do you wanna? Nah, that's cool, but I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna go and do my wherever.
Do you know why I done that? And I had to. I've been made redundant from work. I ain't got no money, bro. But I'm still doing this poet thing. I went for a job interview for a job I didn't want. My mum told me, I said to my mum, can I have £10? She said to me, wow, man like
you think money grow on tree?
What? You think money grow on tree? Yeah, and you're 20 now. I remember saying like you're 20 now or 21 now. You should, or 20, sound like it was something to reference in my age. Or 22 now. You're 22 now. I don't know, maybe 20. But anyway, her whole thing was, you should have money. And it hit me, and I was like, if I'm asking my mum for money, who's telling me I should go and get a job, and she's not giving it to me, I don't want nothing from no one. I'll do it all myself. I will never ask no one for the time. I don't want nothing from nobody. Nothing. I'll do everything myself. Everything. I will fall pregnant, give birth to the kid. I'll do everything. Yeah. That's my head level of thinking. Right. And I'll never forget that day. So I went for a job interview because my mum pressured me to go and do it. I've done the job interview. I ended up not getting the job. I went to the final 2. I phoned them. I said, you know what? I just need to know because this has never happened to me. I get every audition. I put my all into it. Nah, you're overqualified, bro, but you just haven't got the experience. So I looked at my mum. I remember coming back. I said, Mum, let me tell you something. I've gone for a job in a school. I've been told I have all the qualifications, but I have no experience. I said, Mum, I'm not asking you for money no more. But one thing I will tell you is, you see this little thing of this poet thing I'm doing, I've got experience here. Right. And it may mean nothing to you or may mean nothing to nobody. But one day, I'm going to walk into an office, I have no qualifications, but I'm going to get something off experience. Watch. Because you lot are all rating these qualifications. I'm overqualified and I didn't get it. Job, and I asked you for £10 and you're telling me you're not going to give it to me. Guess what? I don't need nothing from nobody. And that is how I ended up secluding myself from my friends fully.
Yeah.
In my head,
does that, in hindsight, does it help and hinder?
It helps and hinders.
Right.
Because in my mind, I was like, I'm trying to help, like work with my friends and do stuff. They all want to do this 9 to 5 stuff, cool. Then do you know what? I'm never going to ask a single person for anything. And you know, it doesn't matter. Because your opinion on me will never mean anything to me because you don't understand me. You're not invested in my life and you do nothing for me. So your opinion is just as bad as a comment on Spiff TV. So that's why I would never take a drive from you. Because you know what? If I go and do a flamboyant thing and then jump in your car, man can say to you, where I'm from, after man dropped him home. I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to say they done anything for me.
Yeah.
I don't want none of it. I want you to just not like me because what I do and that it be. I don't want it to be something like you've done something for me.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't like when people feel like they've done something for me because if I do something for you, I promise you, I don't care. So Chuckie, at the time you're seeing me walk and all that, I'm broke and I'm gonna be broke. I'm going to 1Extra, ask Twin, sitting down with Twin in the morning. Everyone's thinking, yeah, you're gonna get your job, and I'm walking home afterwards, or I'm sharing a sandwich with a homeless man. Like that's the vibe I'm on. I don't have no money. Cool. I'll keep wear the same. My trainers are too small for me. I didn't care, bro.
Yeah, don't say that flippantly to make people understand. So you at this time, there was a time where you was actually going to 1Extra and you was like co-hosting with Twin B, right?
It wasn't co-hosting. I had like a.
They was inviting you,
yeah.
Right?
And a lady called Afua. Shout out Afua, man. God bless her.
And it looked like there was something that was prosperous that was happening for you at 1Extra at the time.
And this was the killer. I've got the call up to 1Extra off the strength of who I am.
Yes.
So I've gone there and not changed. Watered down a bit, but essentially not changed. And then everyone's upset with who I am. You don't understand how confused I am. There's a blonde lady there at the time, Emma. And she won't be happy with what I said. Fam, after I done a Dappy video, me just being who I am, I'm flat on my face, I've got no money, and the Dappy videos happened. Everyone's made money off that. I've made problems. The opportunity I had at 1Extra, gone. Emma, the lady that was like, oh, I've still got the texts of her cussing me to this day, bro. Emma from 1Extra, bro, cussing me. 1Extra cussing me about how can you do this? I didn't do anything. I was just in a bloody video. So I'm naive. I believe people. Then they make me do all this stuff that I think is for me, and then all of a sudden they're angry at me again. That is a practice of my life. So I seclude myself even more. Same thing when I came to jump off with you lot. You lot got upset. I don't care. I don't care. What are you lot upset about?
Yeah.
This is not important. After this, I'm going back home to a 2-bedroom, 5 of us. I don't care about it. You know, wake up, grow up, man. You look privileged kids. That's how I'm looking at you lot.
Yeah.
You're upset, but you don't even know me. Yeah, idiot. So I bust out. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I remember Snips was really upset at the time. I'm like, yeah, but big man, you're white. You don't get my pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, I love Snips.
But we go into Vooj though. How did that connect? Because you two are in some way you're polar opposites, yeah.
Complete.
And you come from a certain place, a certain environment, certain man them, whatever. Me and you actually really connected after all of that.
Yeah.
But how did you meet Vooj?
I met Vooj doing That's a Rap with Quazon. So there's like people have to understand.
But what made you could meet someone, but what made you and Vooj actually meet though?
Because I thought he was so talented. The moment I see talent, I'm like, I will pay for you to do it because I will get my rewards in life because you're going to be talented. You just have talent and you're just sick. So I remember just following him on Twitter and watching all these videos and like,
he was dancing a lot at the time still.
Bruv, I was mindful of him. I was like, the moment I get an opportunity, I have to try and bring you in. And that was Copper 90.
Right.
So I met him in the park. He's like, That's a Rap show. Put him in that. Stayed in contact with him. Done a remix to Don't Go called Please Go.
Okay. That was what Wretch's tune, yeah?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. I will find it one day. I done a remix to that. I mean, even when I went to Wretch's party, the guy that was on the hook, he ran up to me like, Poet, that was one of the best. I was like, come on, cuz. But then, yeah, me and Vooj started doing Copper 90 and everything changed. But that was the super blow up of me being naive. Super blow up.
What changed? When you started working with Copper 90, what changes? Because it's a corporation, and
let me show you how naive I am. When I've gone for the screening, bro, I don't even know if we get paid. I don't know anything. I'm saying to Vooj, do you want to go down to this thing? I don't know if we're going to get paid. I don't know what's going to happen, but we can talk about football and have fun. That's my incentive. That's my pitch.
Right.
Me and Vooj have gone down to this. And bear in mind, I'm from Ferry Lane and Tottenham and all that. When I'm seeing like the way everything's looking and they're treating you with respect, they're offering you
You can't believe it.
Yeah, do you want to sit down here and there's all these cameras?
Yeah.
I'm used to a stolen camera that the man them stole just so they can film. I'm used to like bare minimum. So me and Vuj are a little bit overwhelmed and they've given us a script, whatever. We've done it. And they've called man back. What changed is I didn't understand why someone valued me. It couldn't make sense. No one had valued me for what I do. Nobody. It's not like now if you make a song, all of a sudden people are like, great. Bro, when I'm doing this, my mom's telling me get a real job. None of them are really, apart from Tyson, no one's really helping me as such as that. They helped to the start, but it's getting on now, Paul. Like, do something with it. There is no support mechanism around me in any capacity. So when these people are telling me what they're telling me, I listen to everything they say because I have nowhere of anybody telling me anything. And that's not like, they're not bad for it, but that just meant by the time man's called Copper 90, bruv, I'm just controlled by Copper 90. I'm just whatever they want me to be.
To me, from the outside, I'm looking at raw, like you actually got a career, like now. Like I'm looking at that as like raw. Like Copper 90, I didn't really know this. To be honest with you, I didn't really realise the I don't know how significant that channel was until you man was there, to be honest.
When we got there 2012. Chuckie, you've got to bear in mind, I don't know how significant. I don't know anything. I've just gone to have a good time. Bro, the first time we got paid for it was like £800 a month. I don't know if you understand. From having £6 something in your account.
Yeah, you feel like you hit the belly now.
Blood. Chuckie.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, like, I'm proper so confused. Why are you paying me for this? I've done this for years for free. I've not been paid anything. Why are you giving me money for me to do this? To the point where we're renewing contracts, I'm like, no, I'm just happy to take anything. And Vuj is like, nope, I want more of it. Vuj is aware now. Business. Me, I'm just like, cuz, where I'm come from, this is mad. And that's what they were playing off. My ignorance, I'm naive. I'll take anything.
Yeah. So is that like essentially where you ended up learning business then? Because I know that when it was time for us to start dealing with certain things, you was maneuvering in a certain type of way when it came to dealing with business and money and stuff like that. So is that where you learnt that then? Is it because in the beginning, through that naivety and starting and seeing someone like Vuj maybe being a little bit more on the ball when it comes to negotiations and that, where you started looking at that side differently, or not really? And what went wrong? Because, I mean, so I know I'm giving you two really big questions here, but, and I know that you had spoken about it before, but like, it seemed as though while you was there, the content that you was making was good, but it seemed like you was having a lot of fun. Did you stop having fun over there? Forget like actually the technicalities and stuff, yeah, of like the business element of what ended up happening towards the end. Did you and Vuj, or you in particular, stop enjoying it?
Yeah. Chuckie, when I've gone there, I'm thinking about it now. I'm thinking about it as I'm speaking. And I'm not going to put all the blame on Copper 90. You can't. But one thing I did learn is that whatever the objectives are at the top, if you're not aligned with them, get out. Because it's only a matter of time. If you're climbing that business, eventually you have more conversations with the people there and you begin to hear some things you don't want to hear, bro. So when we're starting what we're doing, they have no idea about someone from my background. They have no idea. And because I've come into commercial world doing pop grime, you could say, I can understand why J2K and the Levelites were like, oh, look at these pop acts, because we didn't have a big group of like man them liking us. It was always girls or like cool kids. That's who we were appealing to. So when you ignorantly look at that, you think, oh, he's just like, hey, nice. Nah, my brother. Like at 11 years old, there's 25 police in my yard, straps everywhere, taking our dad away, saying he'll be back at 12 o'clock. And you're sitting at the clock at 8 o'clock, waiting for 4 hours for your dad to come back, only to see him a year and a half later. Like, my life is far too complex. I'm an observer. I was never the individual that was in question, but did I have first-hand experience of everything a road you could particularly go through? Bear in mind your dad's a drug dealer and you're a youth worker for 10 years. I've probably been through more than your average road man just by default. Surrounded, rushed, all of that. I've done it. It's all happened to me and I don't care about it. It doesn't mean anything. It's nonsense. But it does mean that I'm going to be a little bit more of a... There's going to be more than meets the eye. You're not just going to see a couple of videos and say, yeah, I know Poet. No fucking way, geezer. But that's how Copper 90 treat it. Because they have an objective. They know what they want out of me. Everything else is irrelevant. They don't know that I'm trying to help my mum with her rent so she can go and get a university degree so she can go and start teaching what she's doing now. They don't care about that. So if they pay me late, who cares?
Right.
Who cares? They haven't had that. They've all been born into structures where your family supports you and then you can do whatever you want with your money. I'm letting you know, my first job, I used to buy my little brother and my little sister's clothes for them to have clothes on the weekend to ease the pressure from my mum, because I noticed when my dad came out of prison, money wasn't the way it was. So I knew financially we weren't doing well. So I went and worked my arse off to help my mum with my little sister and my little brother.
Right.
Those are the responsibilities I've had growing up. You go into Copper 90 where everyone's coming from like middle class homes or nice or rare. Unless you come from a broken family where you understand me. These men are not understanding where I'm coming from. So the way that they're doing business is based upon, yes, this is the business world and it doesn't matter. You clock in now and clock out. There's no compassion. There's no nothing. But we're going to have a relationship and work long term. So what I learned about business is bollocks. Absolute bollocks.
Yeah, but you still have to be able to try to maneuver around it in some way, shape or form, no? Because...
But you have to maneuver with people you can trust. The people I can trust is family. So then essentially, business is just me and my family having a laugh. I don't want business to be what Copper 90 tried to make it. Separate me from who I am by making me do loads of work in front of camera that makes you and the people you're speaking to really happy. And before you know it, 5 years later, I can't even go and chat to my brethren because the lingo I use, I don't even know who I am, let alone they are.
Yeah.
So, no, that's not business. It's not business. It's an example of bad business, yes, but it's not business that I like. Business I like is Chuckie. You want to do a podcast? All right, cool. Let's just chill out and see what happens. We make money from it now. Isn't that what business is here for? To make money? Our business is so lit that how we make money more time is through external outcomes, investing in us, for us being the best version of ourselves, so we can make money not just with Halfcast, but outside of that as well. Isn't that important? Not a Copper 90. It's important for you to make Copper 90 money, so Copper 90 functions. So me and my mum that I have to help try and get into university, and my little sisters, I got to try, my family, that doesn't mean anything to you lot. It only means something if I complain because I can't function. That's not business to me. And some people can go, oh, you're expecting too much. You're damn right I am. You're damn right I'm going to expect that. If the whole company relies on me and Vuj for us to at least... We're feeding people essentially. If you're saying to Vuj, you got 5 minutes. You got to sit down and think of an idea with Mesut Ozil, Granit Xhaka and Santi Cazorla, and you've only got 5 minutes with them. And Vuj thinks of that idea and he gets 2 million views. Yeah, I think you should care what's happening in his personal life.
Yeah.
You've got an office of 965 people and not one of them can do it, but Vuj did it. And then Poet's beside him and they've got 2 million views now. And this is the... I think you should treat them with a little bit more care, yes. So how naive I am now, how ignorant I am to everything, that's what made me know about business. I said, I'm going to treat people with respect.
Yeah.
I'm going to know everyone's name.
Do you feel like you made, in that period, other than like the naivety and stuff like that, do you feel like you ever made any direct mistakes in how you may have handled anything?
What?
Talk on that.
Because of my childlike mentality, which is the naivety and everyone's cool, man. No, it's all cool. When you realize God gave man free will, there's about 3 years you go through where you're fuming. From like 2018 to 2020, I said today anyway, was the most... I've never been that depressed in my whole entire life. I was fully depressed. 2018 to 2020, disgusting. But 2017 was the start of me going, ask Vuj. In 2017, I said, Copper are trying to get rid of me. God strike me down. Copper are trying to get rid of me. So when I'm doing what I'm doing, Chuckie. So what was the question again? Just so I make sure.
The mistakes that you made.
When the biggest mistake was my emotional attachment to when I was doing what I was doing. I didn't think, let me think of a plan and stay level-headed. Because when I love, so people don't understand me. People don't have love. Their perception of love is based upon whatever movie you've watched or whatever you've seen on Instagram.
Yeah,
my perception of love, try know this. If I love you and it's me and you on an island and we got to get out, I will dedicate every second and every minute and every hour of every day to doing it. I'll work my ass off for us. If you're my friend, if you're my brother, I will die for you, bro. That's why I'm so passionate. This ain't a job. This is my life. This is what feeds my kids. I will die for you, bro, if we need to do this. So when I've got that attitude to a company who looks at me as an asset, and then I walk into buildings and people are just massaging an ego, get your hand off me. Stop telling me nice things about me just so I can say. Stop being nice to me for an objective, only for everything to reveal itself today. When I start telling you who I am, all of a sudden you don't like me no more. Cause I don't like that world. Cause you know what? When I told Chuckie who I am, he still likes me. When I told Callum who I am, he still likes me. They respect me and they show me, yo, bro, maybe you shouldn't do it like this. So my emotional attachment to certain situations that happen in the business world from being a fan and naive was my biggest mistake. I'm getting out of it now.
Right.
I'm getting out of it now. But I'm just upset with how, just like, honestly, bro, like, it's disgusting, bro. It's just to know that art comes before the industry, but the industry thinks it's more important than the art. It upsets me.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. But doesn't it kind of like speak to the fact that like ultimately there's a game that's been happening. Like whether we look at the things that we like and love and things that we do from a pure place or general interest or whatever. The bigger things get, the more that it becomes the infrastructure, the more that the industry gets bigger, and the more that it becomes evident that there's a game being played. Can we be mad at the game, or are we mad at the players?
It's a good question, Chucks. You know what? On a light one, I'm just like, yeah, cuz innit, you know the pattern, innit? Like, come on, don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah. But it just depends on how much life experience you've had, man. Do you know what I'm saying? The life experience I had was just too hostile and too negative. So the moment I get it good, I don't even think I deserve it, bro.
Yeah, I hear you.
I didn't think I deserved to get paid. I didn't understand. Like the people saying, yeah, give me my money now. I've come from a generation of £100 to do a set. You pay me £100 for me and Scribs to go on stage and spit Never Gonna Blow. I feel like I'm the man.
Right.
Because you've paid me to do what I love. This is what people can't wrap their head around. If you pay me 100 bags to do something I don't want to do, I don't think I can accept it. I don't think I can. Because the long-term damages of my... Bro, I go mad. There's a visual example of me selling my ass. Fuck that, cuz I don't even like that. If I'm being honest with myself, that's not good. I don't like it one bit. But I did it because someone said to me, this brand's cool and it can get you here and they can... Bro, you see that naivety I have, that ignorance I have, and someone's creating a path for me in my life. Yeah. My nigga, you're not God. How do you know that's gonna happen? You hope that happens. You hope that happens because you've done it with 3 other people that are not me. But because we're black or because we're from the same type of... There's just a pattern. I'm not on it. So I'm just upset that the industry, like I said, I hate it. I don't think you should hate. I hate the game because the game don't treat me like an individual.
Yeah. Do you feel that people... Do you feel like people look at you and have a misconception that you are difficult to deal with? And do you believe that you're difficult to deal with?
No, I know I'm not difficult to deal with. Right. I know I'm not difficult to deal with.
Do you feel like there's a narrative that you are difficult to deal with?
Yes, because there's conformity.
Yeah.
And I've never conformed. And I don't not conform to be difficult. I'm very honest in what I say. Just treat me with respect.
Facts.
If you're not going to treat me with respect, then this whole thing's messed up.
Facts.
I'm not just going to do what you say. Don't you understand that?
Right.
I'm a big man. I'm not like people will deal with an individual a little bit younger than me, and then I'll walk in afterwards and they believe that I'm the same as them and they're the same as me. Not only have you disrespected me, you've disrespected them as well. And that's my problem with this situation. People create a term, like for example, put it this way, I haven't been born into an ideal. So if you expect the ideal now, you're a wanker. Like my mum and my dad was not an ideal mum and dad. And the brothers I had are not ideal brothers. My life is not ideal. Whilst I was working at Copper 90, I'm getting death threats at 6:47 about I'm gonna slice your throat open. And then by the time I get to Copper 90, there's a knife here, there's a headbutt in my face. Like, that's my life.
Yeah.
So for you now to accept, and for you to expect a level of behavior that you want purely for your own reasons blood, that's an idiot thing. You're dealing with a very damaged culture, and all you want from it is music and vibes. If you want music and vibes, you gotta give me something in my day-to-day life that allows me to continue to give you that. Not control the way I give you music and vibes, and then blood, I don't have no control in my day-to-day life. You ask most black people from the hood, you ask most ethnic minorities from the hood, because of the situations you're born into, you don't have much control of your life. Art is the one time you can control yourself and grow and learn how to be a great person through these experiences. And you want to control that as well. You're suppressing people. And I'm just the one person that says, if you suppress me or try to, I will become so hostile, you will leave me alone. And I don't care who you are, because the most important thing is in my day-to-day life, I'm cool. And I'm telling you, things look glossy at the start. Copper looked glossy at the start. But 8 years later, them guys that manage it couldn't look me in my face, bro. They might watch this video and say, oh yeah, I could. You couldn't. I'm a man. If I bring my kids to any room on planet Earth, there's only 2 women that can call me a liar or call me anything. There's only 2 people that I would feel ashamed to stand beside. Don't you understand how powerful that makes me? There's certain rappers and whoever, they could never tell their son it's wrong to lie if I'm standing there. They could never tell their son or their daughter, don't be deceitful, if I'm standing there. Because you've done it to me, my nigga. I'm letting you know what gives me power is my Zion and Khalifa. There is 2 humans on planet Earth out of 6.7 billion people can discredit me for my character on who I am. Not who I'm perceived to be, who I am. And that's my power, because that's real life.
Right.
That's when you put the phone down and you sit down and go, do you know what, blood? I need some help. Who can I call? You could have gone on every blog in the world and cussed me, but you know, if you phone me, I'll help you.
Yeah, I hear that still.
Chuckie, I've had people...
That happens to you, innit? That does seem to happen to you still.
I've had people dog me out and phone me and apologize and phone me and ask for help, and I do it. Do you know why, Chuckie? Because it's the right thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
It doesn't matter about my personal feeling towards the situation. I will do it and tell you, don't talk to me again until you need help. Just leave me alone.
And I also hope that you kind of like fully deep the fact that like enough times, even because you was talking about putting the phone down, enough times when you put the phone down, I'm talking about from a different dynamic now, yeah? You start realising that there's a lot of feelings that are expressed online that doesn't reflect true life when you turn the phone off and whatever, yeah? But regardless of like what happens with you and the perception, how people perceive you and all of that, yeah? One thing that I've noticed, and it's happened every single time in regards to content that I film with you, when there's a period of time when you're not there, that's when everyone's like, where is he? Where is he? Come back. I want it back. I notice that all of the time. And I'm like, because of how flamboyant you are as a person, I think from the outside, from someone dealing with you from a distance or whatnot, yeah, you can seem like quite a complex character, but you're actually not. You're not a complex person at all. And it must be frustrating for you when you sort of allow people to come into your world and you embrace them as your friends or whatever it is, and then they deal with you almost like a stranger. So then they dog you out, and then they come back and they do you understand what I'm saying?
If you know how much man have snaked me in my life, bro, if you know how much man snaked me and walk around, like, I don't understand how you're fathers. I don't understand how you're people, bro. Like, how you're a cousin, how you're a brother, how you're a son, how you're a daughter. Like, how can you live day to day knowing you dog someone out that would do anything for you and claim that you're a real nigga? I think I'm a real nigga because I got your back, bro. Like, I really got your back. And that's why I get disappointed. Like, the online comments and all of that, blood, I don't blame them for saying them what they said. I grammed it today, like 2018 to 2020. I swear to you, Chuckie, depression you'll never imagine, bro.
Serious?
You'll never imagine, bro. Man don't know about man climbing through your window to stab you in front of your kids. You don't understand what I've been through. You don't have a clue.
So when you see me upset and you see all of these types of things, understand I am fighting through pain just to smile.
Right.
Whilst I'm being a dad, supporting my mum, trying to support my dad. Like I'm a family man, but my house family is messed up, dog. So when it comes to me trying to support that and then be everything else, I get why comments will say negative things about me. They're allowed to, because they've come on the internet to get a service of enjoyment. Right. And if I ruined that within 2018 to 2020, I apologize, because that's not what you deserve. But I'll tell you one thing. That's the reasons why when it comes to people directly around me, I'm so harsh. Because I don't live in the ideal. My mum and dad wasn't ideal. My brother's situation ain't ideal. The girlfriend situations I've had haven't been ideal. My friendship situations I can go on forever. So for you expect now for me to come into this world of whatever it is and be ideal, your backside. How about that? I will try my hardest. But if you really respect the culture that we're coming from, cause there's an artist going #1 for chatting about guns, fam. It lets you know it's not all roses over here, you know. Just because you change the sonics and make it a little bit more cool for the people in Middlesbrough, like the world we're in, respect it, bro. So Solid are talking about guns then. I imagine Central C speaks about guns now. Oh, let's go back further than So Solid. You can go back as far as the 90s in American hip hop.
Yeah.
Like the culture that we're from, this is the problems they're going through. It hasn't changed. So for people to still be expecting perfection.
Right. I feel that's the thing, innit? Like, yeah, some people do expect that, and I think we take away from the fact, well, you know what it is, yeah? If I'm watching something, I don't necessarily know what someone is going through. All I know is I'm watching what I'm seeing, yeah? And I think that going through all of those things personally, and naturally, as like content creators and whatever, and you know, visually, we're going and we're speaking about certain things, and sometimes we can bring some of the stuff that is going on in our world to our workplace, and it sort of comes out in our the way that we deliver things and the way that we're talking about certain stuff or whatnot, but like, do you not speak to anyone privately about it though?
No. Because I asked my mum for £10, you can give it to me.
Yeah, but
I'm being serious, Chuckie.
But then that's the thing that hinders. Because
but Chuckie, I've trusted too much people for too long. Now, if there's something that somebody believes that they can do for me, then show me that you can do it, and then I'll put my trust in it. Facts. But this whole me putting my trust in people is done now. It is done.
You know,
bro.
You mentioned something sick, yeah. Because I was saying this to someone the other day. When we're born, yeah. Like, we're born with our mum, and then obviously there's the man who contributed to that, yeah. And so there's a social construct of like mummy and daddy, and like mummy and daddy are always doing the mummy and daddy thing, which is the right thing, and that they're never going to lead you astray, and they're not going to this, that, and whatever and whatnot. And I'm not saying this about you, by the way. I'm just saying this generally. Is that like in life, we have some people who are like really, really good people and have like really good core values and stuff like that, and also try to do things from a pure and right type of place. And you also get some people who sometimes do it, but it's off, and you just get some people that are just trash. Yeah. And when you look at that, these people can still have children. So whether you're a good person or whether you're a bad person, you can still have children. So it means, yeah, even though there's this thing of like mummy and daddy and family and all of these type of things, the reality is that mum and dad and family, like biological family, could all lead you astray, and they could all do the wrong thing for you and have bad intentions for you. And also, you can have brethrens or people that you've grown with that are not your like biological family, but they're your family. Do you get what I'm saying? People that you're not related by blood, but you've been around, and you know what it is? Because you can choose them to be around. You can't choose your mum, can't choose your dad, can't choose your cousin, can't choose your brothers, can't choose your sister. You have to be. It's like we almost feel as though we have to have them around us because this is what we're told.
But what makes it worse than that is when I'm in school, everyone's mum and dad's there.
Yeah.
I went to a middle class school, primary school, North Haringey. And I'll tell you what, on parents' evening, you could count the amount of black dads.
Mad. And I guess that must inspire you even more so as a dad now that is like, you know what, all them things that I felt when I was growing up, you ain't having those feelings towards me.
Now, these are the reasons why I used to be very, very disappointed in the environments that I was working in and some of the people in and around me. Because one thing I do know from what the stories I heard from my mum, parenthood ain't easy.
No.
My mum had me at 24. She was working one job. She had me in loads of different childminders because it was her and me. My mum was out here, her and me. But that wasn't even there when I was born, my nigga. He had his reasons, whatever they were, cool. But that's what it was, fam. He couldn't be there, to be honest with you. He couldn't be there. But that's the vibe that I've come from. So once I've heard that from a young age and consistently had to live through it, all I know is when I have children, because we know how difficult it is, at least your family should make it easy for you. All right, my family's not going to make it easy for me. Cool. The only person that tried is the same person that was there from day one. That's the person that tried to make it easy for me. That's the person that would walk in, and if she got nothing out of it, she didn't care. My mum. Everybody else, and obviously there's other people, but I mean like my direct house, like my direct family, everybody that went to help me wanted something else out of it.
Yeah.
And then now my friends, Tyson will help me and never get anything out of it, and he don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Now, if you have 20 of those around you, what type of person do you reckon you become? 20 people that will help you and want nothing from it. What type of person do you become? You become Chuckie. You hear about the people that you grew up and you was around. So there's a level of expectation you will have on Chuckie purely because of the environment he's come from, how he's grown. It's amazing, bro. Like when I hear them stories, it's amazing. And there is a slight, and I'm not a jealous person, but there is a 5% because I'm like, I will never have that, Chuckie. I've never had it. I have no clue what it is for someone to go from early, poet, I got faith in you. I've got no clue. People just have faith in whatever's popular I do at the time. But if I present you this phone and say, I want to make this, because no one ever had faith in, man. So, yeah, bro, man. This job is bloody hard more I think about it.
Nah, you know, bro, I got we talk personally anyway, but I got hella faith in you, bro.
No,
but,
I know now people have faith in me, but at the time growing through it,
I know.
So then when you get
the
here,
sentiment.
I don't have. Now I'm saying to you, like, I do everything by myself because at least that's who I can rely on.
Where are you at now? Like, I think it's sick what's happening with Filthy Fellas, by the way. Like, I just think that the cast that's there, the fact that it's like the foundation of it is like brethrens and that, and it still has that feeling, you know. Obviously you've contributed massively to that from the absolute beginning all the way up to now. You lot are building something that is very important to that, to fans of football. You get what I'm saying? Like, where are you at with the content that you're creating at the moment at Filthy Fellas, and just like the direction in where you're going now? Because even I'd say, like, as a friend of yours, I feel like I'm seeing a new phase of you now, especially with like doing the one post stuff and whatever, which is really good because I think those show a different dynamic and a different side.
It's alright, come in, mate.
Where they see when they open it, do you know what is mad?
Don't know where they open the door.
Where they going? Where they going?
Not thinking though, innit?
Yeah, but I do feel like I'm seeing a different phase in you at the moment, innit? Yeah. The one post show as well, like I'm seeing you sitting down having conversations and listening to them and whatever, and exploring their journey and stuff like that, yeah, which is something that you've been able to do for a long time or whatnot, yeah. Where are you at now and how are you feeling?
I think I'm finally back to just feeling cool, man. I'm a very frustrated person in my day-to-day life because of my family and the pressure they put on me financially, everything. You wouldn't even know, bro. You wouldn't even know. And then at work, it wasn't any better. And I was just trapped. And finally, I'm free of everything I don't want to do. I'm actually, like, for the past, I would say, 7 months is what I want to do. I want to do this today. I want to do that today. And I didn't realize how important that is. To have the capacity to take a journey in self-growth where you don't necessarily need to be policed. Like your parents police you for so long, and then eventually you have to just do it yourself, and as long as you have the right intention, whatever you want eventually will come, you know. As long as you're aware and you're educated in the, you know, in the department that you're doing what you're doing, everything will be fine. And I always say there's no wrong way of doing the right thing. Get the right people around you, man. Like, my whole life right now when it comes to the work I do is I have to subconsciously break the ideal. I have to. have to.
Deep.
Like, in my culture, Wretch on a tune if Get said, we're strapped to see more than dads. I don't think you can say that now.
Deep.
So if I'm out here trying to express my love to get closer to my children so we can eradicate that narrative, so 40 years from now, if I ever have that moment like you had with Peter, my kids can say, Dad, you fought for 1 year. You spent a lot of damn money, more money than some people make in a damn year, just to get us back, just to be with us, just to be close to us. You done all of that for man, and you could have done anything you wanted. You got some dads that are 15 minutes from their kids and don't give a shit. I was, on a good day, 7.5 hours away from door to door seeing my children, and it didn't stop me.
I know. I thought that was, honestly, that's the one thing that a lot of people don't know about your situation, and I think it was not for me to bring it up or anything like that, and you may not even want to talk about it really, but honestly, I used to see you, take and you could go from it if you want, but I used to see you literally take a plunge in, I'm gonna try a thing. I don't know if I'm gonna see my kids today, but I'm catching a flight and I'm trying a thing. I'm just gonna try a thing. You know what? I'm not a dad, and I know that a lot of the audience over here are not necessarily dads, so they wouldn't understand it. But I think when you take a moment to actually try to deep how that would make someone feel to be trying to and not knowing whether you can, and you might hear their voices but then not see them, like,
they don't,
mad.
And I don't get that.
And you know what? Remember, obviously, on the other side, for people who don't know, we just had a conversation about my stepdad or whatever, but without going too much detail with him, he had the same situation where he's going to Schoolgate to try and see his son, not knowing whether he was going to be able to see his son or whatever. And I think that, like, I sit down and I look at that and I'm like, you get some people who may not want to be in their child's life or whatever it may be, but you get some people who are dying for it, and you get there and you don't even know, and then you've got to go work. And you got to record, you got to do filthy fellas, you've got to speak, you got to debate and all of that type of stuff. When you, it's mad.
Chuckie, my week one time
was deep. It's very, very, very deep.
Saturday morning, flew to Sweden, didn't see them. The next day, I recorded a message saying, but I'll never stop. The day after that, at Copper 90 in the morning, I had to go and shoot comments below. Had to shoot something for Copper 90 the next day. Then on the Tuesday, I had to film something for, I think, Nike. Wednesday, I was here filming with you. Like, you just have to carry on. And then I made the flight again. And guess what? I didn't see him again. And then you just carry on. So by the time I got to the point where 2020, where I got to see them, I think some people's perception was just that it was like a 2-3 month thing that I was going through. They don't understand it's like a 2.5 year thing I'm going through.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be crying at the end of it, if I'm going to be exhausted at the end of it, if I'm going to have battle scars from going to war, what do you expect? Just be happy that there's one nigga in your community that goes, you know what? And there was bare support. And that thing, at that time I realised my brethrens love me, you know.
Yeah, fine.
My brethrens love me more than I even know. So, to go back to a previous question, trust me, Chuckie, I'm out of it now. But it's just almost like, it's like I've run a mad marathon and I'm just going, I'm here now. I'm like, eventually I'll be fully back and I'll be cool. But I'm just panting heavily right now. So I'm still a little bit affected, but it's in the distance, finally.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, where you go from here and stuff like that. And you know what? Aside from all of that, bro, I'm here.
I know you are.
I'm here, bro. I'm here. On the phone, wherever you need, man. I'm here. And you got a couple of people around you that feel exactly the same, bro. So trust me.
And shout out Callum, man. I have to say Callum.
Shout out to Callum.
Do you know what? Callum is a prime example of why I say he just has to be a friend, innit?
Yeah, Callum's a G.
I don't like asking on for nothing.
Yeah.
And that time when I had to do that Wiley interview, I'm like, should I phone him? No. He might be doing something. No. So let me just try. Callum, I had there was no one else in my head.
Yeah.
You know, like you have plan B.
Yeah.
I had plan Callum.
Yeah.
That was it. And long and behold, we're here. And Callum doesn't even know what that means now for Like, trust me, that's helped me put food on plate for Zayed and Khalifa. Like, that means too much to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Don't take your fucking eye off the ball, though. True man's sitting here and saying, yeah, big up Callum. And you get what I'm saying? Don't start now thinking man can... You get what I'm saying? Because man's in, don't like... You get me? No joke.
Well, thank you, Chuckie. Thank you.
Nah, man, big up, man.
Everyone.
Honourable shout out to Tigo as well. And
Tigo,
like all the
what a
killer gang.
star,
Man.
bruv.
Tigo's a G. I want to sit and talk with Tigo at some point.
Alhan, Harry, all the filthy fellas, every single last one of them, all down to Bo.
Yeah. Loons, Margs and them, they're doing their thing.
They're the best, bro. They're a reason to keep working.
Yeah, definitely. I love what they stand for and what they represent. I love that. I love what they represent because look where they come from and look what they're doing.
So imagine we stuck to the ideal. Where does that leave me?
Yeah.
Margs, Loons,
Yeah.
Lippy.
Yeah, Lippy.
Vuj.
Well.
If we stick to the ideal, Vuj is what? Born in Croatia,
Right.
refugee type,
Yeah.
moves to this country, figuring it all out. Boom, look what he is right now. Where does that leave Chunks if we stick to the ideal?
Yeah.
Philly. So I'm just here to say, bun the ideal.
Strong. One post show.
Chuckie, thank you.
Chuckie online, host today. And Halfcast Pod as well. We're over there. We might have hit 100k by now. Yes. By the time this comes out. It might have, might not have. But if you haven't, then go over to my channel.
Please, the link's in the bio, fam.
Yeah? We've been putting in work. Me and Poe's been flipping, like we've been doing this thing for a time.
Chuckie,
we were doing an audio. Me and Poe was doing Halfcast Pod, the audio, and then we had the idea to visualize it. And then now, like, we filmed so much content together, had so much conversations together, and now we are about to hit 100k over there. Yeah? Right? I tell you what you might as well do, yeah, as well. Poet's hit 100k at Poet and Vuj. He's hit 100k with Filthy Fellas. Make it the 3-peat, man.
100.
I want
you know what I'm saying? Make it the 3-peat. Give him another one, yeah? Another big plaque.
DJ
yeah?
motherfucking Khaled.
Love. Hey, blessed everyone, yeah? Nice.